Rolling. Okay, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission to order. It's Tuesday, January 15th at 4:32 p.m. Present at today's meeting are John McLaughlin, Diane Coombs, Val Oliver, Jesse Dutra, Abigail Camp, and myself, Ray Cole. We have two things that we say before we begin every meeting. One is, if you plan on recording any portion of this meeting for your own purposes, let us know in advance. The whole meeting is being recorded. The second is, if there's any conversations that are not at this table, could they happen out in the hall, just so that Terry can pick up what's being said for the minutes. Thank you. With that, I'm going, John, do we have anything we need to modify on this agenda before we?
No, this should be good.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Diane. Diane Coombs has just made a motion to approve this evening's agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. And then we're gonna move right along. Yes, sir.
And one
Abstain.
abstention.
Well, that was just to, that was just to approve the agenda. That, and you're not abstaining from that, right? Okay. Okay. So, any public comment at this time? Sounds like no. So now we will move on to the consent agenda, and I have to recuse
As do
for
I.
a couple of reasons, so let's see. Anyone else need to recuse? So we still have a quorum, and Diane, can you
Yep,
share that?
May I have a motion to
Yeah,
approve?
motion to approve the
All those
consent
in favor?
agenda.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, guys.
And John abstains from that one, right?
John,
Yes.
John would abstain from that one, yeah. And now consent with conditions, I do not need to recuse from this, and I believe you don't either, Val,
No,
right?
the mini split
One,
must
two,
be
three.
permissible, John, otherwise. it wouldn't
Yeah,
have
it's
gone
on the
there.
side of the house, and it'd be a straight run up the side of the house, so.
Okay, so
I
it's.
think it'll be harder
I'm
to see,
sorry.
because it's on the back of the house in this
Okay,
wooden road,
I just know that's our new issue.
absolutely.
Okay, so it seems like we would have the regular board on this one to vote. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Diane.
Oh, so where is Corby Way anyway? I've never heard of it.
It's off of,
Bartlett Road.
Yeah. Used to belong to John Corby, it was his driveway.
I'd love to have a road that I could name as my very own.
Raised court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very famous street.
A lot of people won't know the difference.
It's a very famous old street.
It is, yeah.
Race
The
course.
red
And
line.
they,
I wish it was named after me. Okay, so we did have a motion to approve the consent with conditions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good. And John, you have abstained from that one. Okay, so 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Now we're gonna move right along to Richmond. Is this new business, by the way, or is it old business?
This one is old.
Well, we have two. So one is old.
Yes, one is
Just
old.
want to know whether we have a board that's been established already.
Or that can remember it.
This is McLaughlin, Camp, Oliver, and Dutra.
Say that again?
Cole, McLaughlin, Camp, Oliver, and Dutra. That is on the first one. Which we
You
will-
never know who they're next to, look up.
Okay.
This is building I guess, or one. I.
Which means nothing.
Is everybody ready? I think you just need to fire notes.
Am I gonna run this or you?
You're not sitting.
I'm on it, and you are not on this one. This particular
How
one.
come?
You're out water skiing, it says.
Yeah.
Diane, water skiing? Really?
You're adopted.
I didn't know.
This
I
is-
thought you only did
No,
skydiving.
actually,
Right.
you were down in the Smoky Mountains.
Ah,
I believe.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
that's it, yeah, you were adopting kittens in Pennsylvania or something.
Oh, my house is a
Thank you.
disaster. The cats knock everything possible. The whole
Thank you,
jar
Dinah.
of cod liver oil on the floor,
Oh, no,
Yeah, that must
on the
smell
wooden floor.
it all
We're gonna
soaked
be
in.
digging Christmas decorations out from under this, that, and the other thing for months to come.
Here's the one site plan, if anybody wants to see it. It's going.
Well, and there's also
Let me
one
hand it down
posted
to
up.
Johnny. Johnny, you wanna see the
So-
site plan? With the, it's I, building I.
Building I,
Much needed one bedroom apartments.
so Dinah, the I building that we're reviewing is sort of a
Looks
light
like the state
powder
penitentiary
blue.
up
Correct.
This
It's
one
the only
does.
eye on the site.
Okay,
And-
so, John,
Let's see.
Purple?
Yes, exactly, that's the one.
Yep,
There's only one.
Yep. Oh, and you can actually see the little pergola on the back of the site plan. Okay, Dinah, so I think we're all familiar with now where the building that we're discussing is placed. And this has some revisions. It looked like you added a pergola and perhaps did a few things with the windows.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they have it on there. Miraculous.
On the previous drawings did not have the pergola on the back.
Correct.
And so that was added. It's 10 feet, approximately 10 feet wide by the width, which is about, let's see, it should have had a dimension on there, by 28 feet. I did drive by and looked at the hospital pergola just for verification. Those were just about 5 feet bumped out, maybe a little less. So
Yeah, they look too shallow
maybe
to
a little
me.
close.
Well, it's a different application.
Completely.
It
You're
breaks
talking
up-
about the ones on the side.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
kind
I
of breaks up
there.
the facade a little.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's why
I know,
we
I just
want
wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we tried to create a little bit more of a space with the pergola for this one. And it'll tie in nicely to this landscape area. That's kind of the courtyard between all four buildings.
Mhm.
And that's really the only change.
So the bubbles that I see on the windows are probably from a prior thing.
Yes, we had changed the windows from, on the second floor, from a B to an A because of storm watch windows for egress can only be a larger size.
Right. Okay. Okay, comments from the board. Who would like to begin?
Are we just commenting on, so we are commenting on this little shutout, because I think that, could I comment on that?
Yeah.
I think it needs to go one more foot. It looks just superficial, the way this comes in 2 feet 1 inch. I'd like to see that come in more.
Which elevation is that on?
That is on the
East
east,
elevation.
east and probably the west.
I'm sure it's not.
But as far as anything else, I don't have a comment.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Val?
I don't remember what our comments were before. I'm assuming it was just making those windows bigger. I just want to make my blanket statement again that I hope in the future the buildings have a more additive mass feel to them, because I'm getting really worried when I see these 3Ds. Everything really sort of looks the same. But in terms of the pergola, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Jesse?
Yeah, as for the pergola, I think it helps with breaking things up. What was your concern, Abby?
Oh, see how this, I just drew that in,
Yeah.
but see that shadow?
Yeah.
That only goes in, that gives 2 feet 1 inch, and I think it's because it's so shallow, just looks
Like it's just going across, yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't,
Is that something that was already approved, or?
Well, that's what I
Well,
can't remember, cause it was so long
No,
since it
let
was
me,
in
let
here.
me say something on that point. I think I'll cover this, Dinah, and if you have anything to add.
I agree with you.
Okay, so I don't believe that it was a point raised earlier. However, this is not an application like we review frequently that has been approved and then a revision is coming in. So, you know, essentially, it's one of those things where it was not mentioned at a prior meeting, so we have to be really careful about like not opening the whole thing again, because we were down to sort of the finer strokes.
oh, so was that
However, what's that?
circle, was that circle just for the pergola? This?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, it has, right.
All right, well,
But-
I think I might have made that point before. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
And
Well, you
I
said break up
frankly think
masses
it's,
to give some identity.
and Jesse, so, now that we have that, you
Yeah, I
wanna
mean,
continue your,
As for the pergola, I'm okay with it. It gives enough, it's deep enough where you can live under it. So, not that there's any door going out there, but
And Dinah, it says mechanical enclosure,
Yes,
what's that gonna be?
it'll be board on board, cedar. Vertical, 4 foot high. And it will be presented on the hardscape plans as
she's
well.
just doing exterior. John,
Yes, on page A1, on the left, first floor, it shows the pergola. On the left and the right of it, 2 mechanical pads.
yeah,
Have they been applied for?
Those are gonna be a part of, another set of drawings with the hardscape and landscape plans. None of this has been submitted, the hardscape plan.
Of course, I see a lot of things coming back to our changes from time to time. But there's quite a project out there that we've got, and, you know, this, according to our agenda, Phil Passion, Building 1.
mm-hmm.
Didn't explain anything in there like the rest of the application, to what they're doing. So I have to go back and find out what they are.
Well, so the revision that Dinah has made is to add that pergola onto the back. So that's why that's bubbled, John, on the floor plans and on the elevations. That's the revision that she made.
And she made a change on one window.
Well, actually, she made a change in a couple of windows, but those were prior. Because a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, when we were reviewing this, they have to do hurricane force windows, and it didn't come in the smaller size, so they had to make those windows a little bit bigger. But that was a prior thing.
Okay. Did he check with us?
But
on
there's,
it?
Yeah, she
yeah,
asked.
that
It's all committed, okay,
she said
everything's
she had to come in with
Um,
all
Did you not have any application for the mechanical pads, am I correct?
Not at this time, no.
Just so you have to keep coming back to things. You know, we spend a lot of time on these big plans.
Well, so, some of the other applications you had before, she came in with sort of an overall landscape thing
Yeah,
and showed
you'll-
where all those paths were. Well, John, if it would make you feel more comfortable about that, what we can do, if we do get around to approving this tonight, we can have a condition that the mechanical pads as shown are not approved yet.
Right.
That they need to be part of a separate application. We
That's
can make that
the
part of the
message.
motion.
Write down, you know, quick lines, what they're gonna be, what you got to look for,
Right.
you know, in the future.
Yeah.
Keep having problems with this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So, Dinah, I think there's a few people, and myself included, that would love to see this, these 2 side gables, the one on the east and the one on the west, maybe get a little narrower, so you had a little bit more than 2 feet. Would it be possible to get a foot out of the width of each one of those So you give, it would be 6 inches on
They
either
were
side.
1'6", Mr. Chairman, and then we went to 6 inches less. I can possibly go maybe 6 inches less on the front module, I
Oh, you mean-
can't go wider because of its modular construction, so
Well,
it
you
won't
mean
fit on
you
the.
could give us on the front of the building?
Like, I can't pop it out more, I would have to take the footprint out of the building, maybe to the left and right, I could bring it in, 6 inches.
So on that west
Oh, I
side.
think that's what I just suggested.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you meant pop it out more than 2'1", you know, the gable. It's,
Well,
make-
let's make sure we're saying the same thing here.
right,
So you see how you have 2'1" on either side?
Mm-hmm.
If that number, if you took away 6 inches on either side, that number would become 2 feet 7. Is that what you were saying, or you were saying something different?
well, no, I'm saying the same thing, it's just, I don't know if I can get a whole foot out of there. It just gets really tight in the living room. Could you live with 6 inches, because we did have them at one point 1'6" reveals, and then we were told a minimum of
Okay.
2 feet.
Okay, so how about this one? If you can give us 6 inches, I think the 6 inches would be more perceived and more significant if it were on the front part of the building as
Yeah.
opposed to the back.
Absolutely.
In other
I
words,
think
would
so.
everybody would be okay
Because here's
with
the
holding,
front.
yeah, so you're gonna see the front push further back away from the entry piece. So, would everybody be okay with that as a concession?
Well, I think it's important to do it, otherwise it just looks like a commercial building off island. It doesn't look like a residence.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know,
gonna
I
give it
think,
more-
you know, the whole,
Yeah, the concept of,
the thing all along has been the
Yeah.
idea of giving more dimension, to
So
the
adding
building.
6 inches on the front.
Or taking away 6 inches from the.
Okay, so the gable, to be clear, the gable on the east and west would get narrower by 6 inches.
But why not just make the middle gable 6 inches longer? And leave those gables how they are?
Can you
The
do
way
that?
I think the way the modular construction comes, I can't go more than 15 feet 9 inches for traveling and all the trucking and all of that.
Oh, so that main gable is actually gonna come in two pieces?
2 pieces,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, if you see the thick wall behind the stair,
That's the
behind,
joining wall.
yeah, it's the marriage wall. So each one of those modules is going to be like have the bump out on, so it's all prefabricated,
Got it.
yeah.
I
So
understand.
there's just a limit to how wide that can be from the marriage line. So I feel comfortable that I could take away rather than give, but not take away too much because it gets a little bit tight in the living room.
So what I'm suggesting here is if you're looking at the first floor plan, there's a dimension from the entry gable, front entry gable, back to the side gables of 2'1" That would become 2 feet 7 inches, and the slack would be taken up by making the gables on the sides narrower by 6 inches.
So 2510 would be 25.4.
Correct. Right. But, that's just a suggestion. We've all said
you
our
can only
piece.
do that on the front facade.
Well, the back facade extends 10 feet beyond with the pergola, so.
Well, the pergola is disguising it a little bit, so that's not as
Extending the building,
concerning
you know,
with that.
so I would say if you can accommodate 6 inches on the front, that would be helpful.
Let's see. Does somebody wanna make a motion on this of some kind? Whatever they feel comfortable doing? You have to tell me what that motion is. Are you making a motion that sort of corresponds with what I just said? Okay. All right, so John has made a motion to, remove 6 inches from the east and west gables, adding the 6 inches onto the 2'1" rebate from the front gable to the side gables. So those gables would be 2 feet 7 inches further away from the front gable. All those in favor of John's
Wait a
motion?
minute, so,
Sorry.
and what's the other part of it? So the flanking gables lose 6 inches
Right.
and the main gable gets 6 inches?
No,
Okay,
the main gable stays where it is, but instead of it being 2 feet 1, because we've removed 6 inches of the side gables, the number would become 2 feet 7 inches
Okay.
back. All those in favor of John's motion? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Now, is this also, the second one, is that also old business? Oh, it says revisions to module H, that's new business. Okay.
We're on number 2, right?
We're on number 2 under Richmond, and so apparently, John, what it is the revision to module H, which is the red building. Right?
Yes, this was, actually the eight, this is the red building.
Yeah, and it appears that there's only one of those too, Dinah, am I correct?
If there's one of those, and, it was previously approved, at 78 feet 4 inches for the overall length, and once we've worked it out and worked it on the site, we had to reduce it by 2 feet, so the building is now 76 feet 11 inches, so we took about 1 foot 8 off of the building. The overall
H3
length
and
end
H.
to end. That's,
Which one are we on? You H,
The
2,
H.
3, 4, 5?
it's regular.
Just the one that's plain old H, not the H1 or anything like that.
And some
Okay,
window
there we go
changes.
Why?
Okay, so, how
Revision
does,
to
Done,
model
hang
H.
on, hang on one second. Yes,
Revision to model H.
yes,
That's what it says.
yes.
Where is model H?
It's the
Model
red
H,
one.
these 3 here. 1, 2,
Well,
3.
no. Those are like H1, H2. She's only looking at H, just plain old H right there. Not those other ones, John.
It's confusing, okay? Because it doesn't give you the information.
The one story.
Right, revision to model H.
It's the same building.
This doesn't use none of these.
Doesn't apply to any of the
That is
H1,
another- that is
H2.
another-
Needs to ask
have
for
to do this
revisions,
every
they
meeting.
wait
Yeah.
3 months and do that.
A lot of buildings.
H.
So now it seems, Dinah, confirm or deny? Is the only reason we're reviewing this because you're removing 2 feet out of the depth of the building? Is that literally the only reason?
There's window changes.
I did
They're
add,
horrible.
I added 2 windows to the side because I felt it was under fenestrated.
That would guide us to the elevation.
Yeah, that's the only other reason.
I
Well,
mean, which
no,
elevation
there's,
is it?
there's the two
That's
pieces of the west have different windows.
right, this is 3 and this is 4, where this was 4 and that was 2. If you look.
Okay, got it. Everybody see that?
Four new windows.
This is new, so you're on this.
Uh,
Not a new building, but.
Wait, this is a new thing going on? Oh, okay.
To be precise, we also
Oh, two-
revised the side
two
building
windows.
gable bump outs from 2810 to 2510. So that's really where the dimension came out of the overall length.
Alright, so to be clear on that west elevation, there's a net gain of 2 windows. There's 14 right now. If I did this right. Well, actually, I'm only counting the ones in the gable and in the side gable and the gable facing us.
This is
So there's,
this.
formerly, there were 4 in one, which I think we would all agree is under fenestrated. And there were, I mean, when I say 4, I mean 4 total, up and down. And then in the main gable, there were 8 windows, which seems to be over fenestrated. So essentially what Dinah did was brought down the fenestration on the gable that's facing us on the west elevation and added a total of 2 windows to the eave facing mass of the west elevation.
And also shrunk that main gable by 3 feet.
Correct.
That's where the length came out.
Right.
Correct.
And then there's this, on the north elevation, you've got this 6-inch freeze, so we don't have that shingle line in between the top trim and the window trim?
That's correct. There was a comment on a previous, H meeting, and they asked us to add the freeze there. And it helped with the size of the building. We felt it was a good aesthetic feature.
This is definitely my pen, but would you like to?
It's a calm, it comes.
Okay, Val, would you like to comment on this?
I think the window changes are an improvement.
How about the reduction in length?
Well, the reduction is good.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I just, again, I know this was approved before, but it's more of the same building, just sort of,
Different color.
yeah.
What color?
You didn't tell us a color yet.
It's white, all white on the application.
I'm on this too.
Yeah. This,
This is a new application.
right, because it's revisions, we have the regular board on this. So, you've said all you need to say, right?
Yeah.
Val? Diane?
I think the windows are better. I only question on your, previously approved elevation, it had 4 windows, and now it has 8. So it didn't just add 2, it added 4.
Correct.
And I think it's better to have less in that gable and the gable a little smaller. The only other thing I could say is it's been a good long time since we reviewed all these. I don't even know when, back in the late summer, I guess. We have continually asked for some one-story additions to these houses, and there aren't any. And one of my major concern is that they're basically, they all look alike. I'm sorry for that, because there are too many of them that is, and I guess it's just too late to have any of that stuff added on now.
I think it is in this particular case, because what's before us is actually,
Just a
there's an
window.
approved building
Right.
that has some revisions, and we're really supposed to stick with what the revisions are. But now, so Diane, I totally hear what you're saying, but back to the observation that you made that side gable, the eve facing gable, you said went from 4 windows, which I personally think was, really under fenestrated, to 8 windows. Are you looking for a compromise there? Or, in other words, do you feel like the 8 makes it over fenestrated?
No, I don't know how you're going to make a compromise unless you put 3 over 3, which is in the gable, and that just makes that whole front more repetitive.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
we have this little peak I didn't notice, right here.
Peak.
Right here.
Oh,
What
that's what.
elevation are you on?
That's that.
That's the north, and it's the peak from the west.
Oh, you mean that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, that's,
I meant, if you
Oh.
change
That's this.
these to 3s, then you have 3s here, and it just makes it a mass of windows. I don't know whether that little section with one window over the other on the left-hand side of that west elevation, is that set back at all?
Yes, it's set back. Let's see.
talking about the piece in between the 2 masses.
The
Yeah.
piece-
This little thing.
The piece in between the 2 masses is set back I think 5'9".
Oh, good. All right, so you're going to have a break in that facade.
Yeah.
It's like 2 feet, right?
Where are
From here
you,
to here.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm
This.
looking at, oh, at the front, yeah, that piece there is 6'3". It's shown on the first floor plan,
Wait, I'm not sure.
to the left on the mechanical pad, right?
Oh, you know what? She's right, right here. If you look at the A1, which is the first floor plan, and you look over on the, you see the, how do I say this, on the right-hand side, you see the one mast projecting out pretty far, it has a mechanical pad to the right of it, and then you have the other mast that sticks out less far. So the depth of that mechanical
Oh, we were
pad
up
area
here.
is 6 feet 3 inches.
You were on the front, right?
Where was this?
Maybe I misunderstood.
This is one
the
recess.
front
There's
porch.
2 recesses. There's this
Wanted to
recess on the
know.
side, 6'3".
No, recessed that was.
And then the front porch,
actually
I mean, the,
recessed.
just the front facade is that dimension is not
Yeah,
there.
that's
It's about
nothing.
2 feet.
And then it's
It's about
back
2
down a
feet.
little bit.
Well, it's 6 minus 3'7",
Right,
so 2 foot and change.
yes.
Thank you.
So Diane, anything further to add?
No, just as much variation as we can get would be good.
Okay, John,
No comment.
okay, Abby,
I'd like to, add some clapboard to the middle section around the front door. And I think, and maybe the door could be red. I'm just trying, you know, when everything's up, and you're starting to move around, it's gonna be easier to find your house. So I was just wondering if, we could have a color, you know, the colors that we've done so far, so we could see. I don't wanna just throw this out without it relating to the rest of your whole project.
I understand, and what we're gonna do when we come back for the next, building, actually, it might be for a single-family home, but we're gonna bring a color chart of everything that's been approved, which is basically these buildings
She wants us to
and these 3.
Abby.
Not approved or approved with comments. And then we'll give you a color chart, and we may wanna make some, revisions to the color chart, we're open to that.
Right, okay.
But a
Well,
lot of it's platinum and white trim right now, we don't really have any natural. Or cobblestone or gray.
right, yeah, I would
Okay.
think that would be nice, or yellow or red. I thought we did a red door.
We did a red door on the
Yeah.
D over here, this one
Yeah,
has
so,
a.
yeah, I don't want it to seem random either. I
Right.
mean,
But the doors, the windows, and the trim
Yeah.
are gonna be a separate presentation.
Okay.
And we'll be able to adjust from that.
when we see it all,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think you have to see them all together on like a board, so you understand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what's facing what, so that,
Okay,
Okay, so, I retract my statement because I'd like to see it as a whole and see how they're relating to one another, the colors we put.
okay, okay.
But would you want to know about clapboard at this point, or?
We have, we don't have the color selected yet, but we do have the clapboard for one of your comments on the B building with the shutters. And you're suggesting on the H, on the recessed lower half of
Correct.
the
Yeah.
porch?
I'm suggesting, well then, without
Or the
color,
whole recess?
yes, this whole area could be clapboard,
to
and
sort
then
of
that
set
would
it
break
apart
up.
from the, to create some
I think that's nice.
textural difference.
I don't think it would be that much more.
Well, we could add that in the material change to this, if you were amenable to that. Because it's, you know, I gotta remind you, this is not, the addition of the clapboard is not part of the revision, quote unquote. The revision consists of window changes
With the building lights.
and the reduction in the building length, that's it.
But if it would be an improvement.
No, I know, so you just threw it out there, and so I'm asking Dinah if she would be okay with that being included as part of the
Yes, I think it's,
approval of the revisions.
yes, I think we have to look at doing that throughout the site as we move forward to break up some of the.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So would somebody like to make a motion for me on this one?
Oh, for this, are we approving this? Approving,
We're not really advising anything. are
Yeah, I
we?
haven't heard any sort of revisions or suggested
did you say we're
revisions,
gonna
other than the
add-
clapboard.
So I'll make a motion to approve making the main mass on the north elevation, clapboard instead of,
Why don't, can we be more specific? Can we say between the two gables?
yes,
So that we're not approving the entire front facade as clapboard?
yeah.
Okay, and then of course, going with that would be to approve the rest of the revisions as submitted,
Yes,
Right.
yes,
correct?
and
Okay.
that's white trim, right?
It was down as white, but as Dinah said, she's might come in and might mix that around a little bit. Okay, so hope you all got that. Abby has suggested to approve these revisions as submitted, with the addition of clapboard face on the, which elevation was that? The front?
north,
The north
the
elevation.
front elevation, right?
The front elevation, which is the north, between the two gables. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Great idea.
Aye. Okay, Dinah, you're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is 106 Orange.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I was hoping for a full board,
Oh,
Since Steve was here, we held last-
meaning Stephen?
meeting Stephen.
Well, okay,
Right,
well, Steve is definitely not gonna be here tonight.
Because we held last week for you,
Right.
So I hope you had a good stay wherever you were.
I did. Now,
There's only 3 of you on it.
Oh.
You, Steve, and who?
No, it's Paul, Coombs, Welch, and Dutra.
Oh,
Obviously, no Stephen.
okay, so what do you wanna do?
I don't know, do you guys want to look?
Sorry, hold on. Pohl, Coombs, Welch, and Dutra.
Yep.
Okay, so we would be a 3-person board.
Yep.
If you wanted to move forward.
I guess I'm here now, so I'd rather have you look
Okay.
at it, you know?
Okay,
If you're fine with that.
well, that's your decision.
Yeah, sure.
You decide what you want.
Yeah, no, I'd love,
Okay,
I'd love to.
now I'm gonna throw a proviso or a caveat on this one. So I got back, yesterday afternoon, and only knew that this was on the agenda this morning. So I didn't see the sample up on the building.
Okay.
Just pictures.
there's a picture.
We made.
Well, is this the same picture that I saw the last time? It is. Yeah, so I saw this picture.
Okay.
That was 2 weeks ago. And then, I think that the motion then was to go out and review it.
Mhm.
And I knew it was gonna be reviewed when I was not here under old business.
They did not.
Didn't go ahead, correct. So do you still wanna go forward?
Well, do you want to see it, or do you want to?
Well, okay, so I want to be
We've put a-
really careful because I'm not sure we've opened this application and I don't want to taint the application, particularly if Steve's not here.
Why don't you just hear it,
Okay,
And-
all right,
and-
so, okay, go ahead.
Great. Here's the materials. Thank you for having us again. I think this is our 7th time appearing before you. And this is we did 3 mock-ups, and this is the 3rd mock-up that you've seen. 3 different times on the roof, we've gone up there and put solar on. So I appreciate you guys bearing on.
Another one?
Yeah, of course.
Just to be clear, John, you're not on it, but that's okay.
Well, I had a comment, as a citizen.
Perfectly
Great.
fine, just want to make sure you were aware. Thanks.
So the 3 kind of comments we heard from the last the time we met were we wanted to see more complete massing or on the building, so
More complete coverage.
more complete coverage. So we got up there and we were able to fit 2 more panels in. And so we did that. The other element we heard was you guys wanted to go actually physically see it, so we put up a sample again of the solar skins. I know, Ray, you didn't get to see it, but we could put it up again another time.
I did see the photos.
You did see the photos.
Right in the
We included summer and winter foliage to give you a full and fair perspective of what it looks like. So I hope you appreciate that. And then, the last thing again is the solar skins. So the panels are spec'd exactly, they're GAF shingles, and so they have a solar skin printed over them and placed on them. So that is one of the changes to the application that we originally submitted. And what was the last thing? The last thing you guys requested was the warranty information, and we included that on the last page. So these panels, again, were invented at MIT. They went through a long process through the National Renewable Energy Laboratory and were sponsored by a Sunshot grant. So they've gone through a serious level of testing. The technology's been around for about 30 years, but over the last 5 years or so, it's being used in solar panel as applications.
You're talking about the technology of sort of photographically
The
putting.
skins, yes.
Yes, like you had mentioned about out on buses and so forth.
Yep.
Have that.
Yep.
Yeah, just to be clear. You found your time.
So there's, it's been, one of the concerns was, what happens, what's going to happen to these panels after 10 years. So I very clearly tried to show that they're, we intend to stand behind these skins. We expect them to last 20 years.
Okay.
And
Okay.
And kind of lastly, I'd hope you guys would consider, voting for this application. We've tried to work really diligently with the board, hear all your concerns, address them. And furthermore, this is a utility, so it's not like, it's just like an electrical pole that doesn't come before you. And we've gone above and beyond to kind of come before you and try to make this application make sense and work and make you see the value of it. Lastly, Mark Donato wanted to be here. He was gonna come last week, but we didn't have a full. Ray, I wanted you as the chair to be here because I know you were concerned about it, and I just want you guys to feel comfortable with it. So, anyways, I appreciate your feedback and thoughts and your support this evening. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we have 3 members on this, me, Diane, and Jesse. Well, and I will also hear from you, John, absolutely. Diane, you ready?
I think that you have made it a very thorough presentation as the solar systems are presented to the HDC as a regular thing. It is not something unusual. However, I go up and down that street all the time, and it has to fit in winter and summer, leafed tree and bare tree and whatever. I don't know where all the pictures come from, but I know that when you come down Orange Street from out of town towards town, it is clearly there. It is, as I said before, a very important question, important route, because it is the big turn of Orange Street. You have 2 stop signs, and you have Cumbies, and it is a well-used area. The roof, I think, is the wrong color. It should be darker to go with these dark solar panels. I think, at least when I was talking about going to, so that you didn't see roof underneath it, it didn't mean to leave a pathway on the sides. It's either should fill in altogether, that we have done like out on, Old South Road at that gentleman who
Yeah,
we allowed, and it went the whole thing.
the Ernst land design.
This is in the old historic district, which puts another notch on it, and I think it's important, not that solar isn't important downtown, but we have worked with it, and some places I think are just inappropriate, or put it in the backyard on a land-based solar. I think that on this particular house, which you see every roof plane as you go around, this is not the place for it.
Thank you, Diane. Jesse?
I absolutely respect Diane's comments and am also concerned, although this is right on the edge of old historic, that, you know, if we approve this, that it'll continue to creep in. I also see the need for solar, and it definitely is a utility. And if you look at utility poles, they're certainly much more unsightly. And it's a tough decision. I look at Cumberland Farms across the street, and I don't look at this as old historic, and it's right on the edge. They've worked really hard to try to make it look better. I'm not sure if the skins helped all that much, although they do definitely help in some of the example photos. And it does look out of contrast. It looks I feel like it looked better on site than in a photo.
I would agree, yeah.
You're all done.
And yeah, I'm kind of torn. I mean, I feel the major concern I have here is it is visible. You will see it. It's that you're creeping into old historic district, and this is right on the edge. And if we approve this, what's that going to say down the road for the next person in the next lot?
Humvees across the street.
And I feel like you've done your best, and
It's the roof color, really, wouldn't you say? If it was black, it would be better.
Well, I would disagree with that, because of another application we brought before.
Why don't you let the commissioner
Sorry.
speak first?
As a non-voting member.
Yeah, that was just an
Well,
aside.
yeah, because I'm gonna say something similar. But now I know that John McLaughlin wants to say something, again, as a non-voting member.
Thank you, I'm speaking as a citizen. If you look at the map, it comes down, the historic area comes down Cherry Street, Dog Legs, a little to the left, on the right side of this, right here, you can see this, where the tree is bare, the bare tree.
Yeah,
Right, that's what's there existing now.
right.
And this is inside the old historic area. And this is the area we've been harping on for over a year, about trying to get the right regulations on it. And one of the things that we have all talked about, and we haven't fully agreed, but I say should not have any solar on roofs in the old historic district. It takes away the flavor of the whole character of any structure that's an old retired, old house. It takes away from it. And here, you can see it right there, the photo is self-explanatory. It tells you what's there. You know, they throw the tree of you out there, like the top page, but the fact is that the application is here now, and we've mostly all discussed of not having any until we set the new guidebook and new policies. And we're not to have allow them there. I feel it's wrong. It's a very bad precedent, because if this goes through, everybody in the old historic districts like the swimming pools now. Everybody wants a swimming pool. Everybody wants solar. I agree with solar. We need it. The whole country does. But in the situation of preserving what we have here, it's gonna go to hell fast. Thank you, that's my comment.
Thanks, John.
Yes.
Okay, so my view, and you've heard some of this before, so I think the idea of having this sort of photographic image of the shingles superimposed onto a panel doesn't take into account the fact that because it's a different type of surface, it's a reflective surface as opposed to a like asphalt, non-reflective surface, that would be a problem depending on how, which way the light is reflecting. So I'm not sure that there's, in my mind, that there's anything to be gained from having the solar skin film on top. In fact, my point is sort of borne out by some of these photographs of the other houses that you showed. Like, so what's apparent to me there is not like the fact that, well, there's this skin trying to make these panels look like the roof underneath, but that there's these conspicuous sort of rectangular pieces set onto the roof plane. So, given the fact that you have these rectangles that are sitting on a roof plane, I was going to bring up, and Val sort of alluded to this, and I would like to hear your response because you haven't given it yet. We approved a solar array on a house that's literally right on Hummock Pond Road as you go into town. You know the one I mean?
Yep.
They haven't even shingled the side yet. It's still got the green,
Yep.
stuff on it. And I'm not sure that 100% of the board will agree with the statement I'm about to make, but it's a black roof. The panels are on the back, and yeah, you can see them, but they cover up pretty much the entire roof plane. And the interesting thing about having black panels on a black roof is then those seams and everything and the sides are not nearly as conspicuous as if you were going with all this on a light roof, where as per your photographs, the grid of the panels is very, very apparent. And to John's point, if this were, further out of town, I think you'd have more options available to you, but the fact that it is in the OHD is a problem. So I don't want to, sort of lead you down the primrose path, but I think that the only way that, by the way, just totally as an aside, is that a real roof walk or is that fake?
What do you?
This roof walk right here?
No, it's a real roof rock.
It's
The
real?
one- Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, because it looked like it was just sort of propped on top. Because I'd say you would get closer to having a continuous roof plane if that roof walk, if you didn't have to work around the roof walk. So I really, I think everyone is in favor of solar, but this is, A, a very conspicuous location, B, in the OHD, and C, I think that it's on the front of the building and everything, and it happens to be on the side of the road that you're driving on right when you're going into town, so it's a tough sell. So those are my thoughts. Now, would you like to say anything?
I would.
Okay.
And thank you for all your thoughts and considerations. I appreciate it. Just a couple things I'd like to comment on. One, we went with black edged panels because the board had asked for black on black panels. We could have silver edged panels that would match a gray roof, so that's a possibility. Another piece as well is in the context of that building you referred to on Hummock Pond Road. You'll if you go by that building again, you might notice that the panels stick out about a foot and a half, 2 feet past the edge of the building, which is
On the back?
on the
Must
back.
be the back.
Yeah, on the back.
You mean they overhang?
Yeah, they overhang.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I'll look for that tomorrow.
Yeah, and so that's definitely like a concern when it comes to wind load and the safety of the panels not blowing off. So
Well, that's something that we didn't know. because we would not have
Yeah, I don't
approved,
think we would have
we
approved
would
it
not
if
have
we'd known
approved
that.
solar panel that overhung the roof. I'm sorry.
Well-
They may have to take it down, cause that's crazy.
And anyways, side point, but
Right.
just something to be aware of is if panels are going to fill up a roof space, they shouldn't be overhanging, and so that's. I know there was
I
a
think we all agree with you on that
okay,
score.
cool,
Definitely.
because we could have filled up the roof more, but things would be overhanging. So I just wanted to.
Right.
I saw it happen somewhere else, and Zach and I have worked very diligently to make sure all our plans that you guys see on every application are very thorough, and our panels go exactly where we say they do. So I hope you appreciate that.
May I make a comment?
Yes, and I'll
just-
get to you, Diane, next.
I'm not sure if this is even possible, probably not. I mean, part of the problem is that you have, like Ray mentioned, is you have these grids going through. And they're obviously a different color. And then also, we're at 90s back to the house, you have that edge that's a different color as well. Is there any way that you can skin this possibly after it's installed, so you're covering the whole, it's matted across and
Yeah, so what happens is, we could, but it messes with the, the skin is printed, so it looks just like the roof shingle, and it lays out, and so we lay it out accordingly to how the shingles go out, but if you have it printed going down, it
would
creates
look
like a weird look. So what we would propose to do is to, paint it gray, so it blended in more with the roof, especially on that leading edge that you're kind of seeing from the road.
Diane, you had another point. Thank you,
On
Jessica.
your, just to try and understand what at least I am mentioning, is on your south elevation, because of your size constraints, you have solar panels, and then you have the whole area that isn't covered by solar panels. This is one thing that we try to avoid. If you're going to put solar panels in a place where it's questionable, then our particular preference is all the way, because then the roof does not become so obvious. What I would suggest, perhaps, if you withdrew the application at this time, and see what you can come up with without having to get a denial or a revision. I don't think it would cost him anything to withdraw it at this time if he thought it would be a good idea. But I think it would be something to consider, because you have one point is the roof should be the same color as the solar panels. And you have to figure out, and it may not be possible because you said of the skin being printed this way and not this way, but you won't be able to fill in those holes. And that is such a visible roof that it's hard to accept. I understand you've done very
So
good work and all that stuff, but I just think sometimes it can't work right at the moment. See what you can come up with.
So Diane, just so I understand you, are you saying like those points on the, there's maybe kind of two arrays, the one to the right next to the widow's walk? There's
Under the widow's,
there's kind of
see how it
two,
goes up the back?
there's kind of two little triangles there.
Well, it's more than that. See this
Yeah.
whole
Like we
back,
could put
all
like
this.
a blank panel there that wasn't functioning.
She's talking about all that
Yeah, so like,
and that.
right, so if you had essentially had a blank panel there, or a blank panel there, so it looked, so that you didn't have that angle. These aren't drawn like 100% perfectly, I hope you understand, Ray.
Yeah.
If you were to have a triangular panel essentially in that corner, that would assist, that's what you're saying.
Well,
I'm saying it's an idea.
it's getting
Yep.
it closer.
We
for
can't
sure.
approve this, at least I don't think we would approve it tonight. I think you have to work on the law.
So, Diane, you had mentioned a withdrawal, but the other option here is for you to do more research. Clearly, this is not an insubstantial concern that we have with this application. Now, Stephen is right in the process of missing one meeting, and I'm sure he would be happy to mullen back in, read the minutes that are created from our discussion right now. Mullening back in would allow you to have a larger board and a more sort of, you know, diverse response. So,
Mr. Chair, he already had done that once, so he can't do it.
he did?
Yeah.
Yes,
Ah,
Keep an eye on this one.
all right, well, so then
very
actually,
happy to
let me
work.
just say something. Diane has a good point. So, which she always does. But see, if you were to withdraw, you could reapply and get a fuller board than 3 people, because right now, you're down to 3.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
if that's what you
And which means you
recommend.
need 2 people to vote in favor of it, you know, that would be a tough sell.
Right, as it
Just
is
being honest
presented.
with
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we appreciate that.
Okay, so, well, we can motion for revisions and then he can withdraw if he feels like going down that road. Then he has a choice of either reappearing before a 3-member board or withdrawing, reapplying before a full board. So, do we want to make a motion for some revisions?
I'll do whatever he would be more comfortable with. I'll
Whatever
make
you
a
want, you know?
motion to hold for revisions.
Yeah, I think that's simple.
And a
then-
further
And then
study.
if we wanna withdraw, we do that, or?
Well, what you would do is you would withdraw and you would reapply basically with your revisions, but you would have, because it was a new application, you'd have a full board.
Right.
As opposed to 3 people.
Great.
Okay?
No, and thanks for your
s-
consideration.
Oh, sure thing. So Diana's made a motion for revisions at this time. So all those in favor of Diana's motion hold for revisions?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thanks.
Really appreciate
Yep.
it.
We'll talk to you later.
Uh, Mr. Chair, there's a.
Yes, sir.
Someone here for number 11 on consent for 16 Allen's Lane, which was already approved.
Yeah.
And they're here, they were hoping that they could reopen that application. That
I
was,
can't imagine it's a person who's,
It's the person who's the applicant.
the
Oh.
applicant is here, yeah.
you're already approved. Do you want us to disapprove
Yeah,
it?
because I learned something today that I was not aware of.
Oh,
Originally, I
hang on,
was,
hang
I'm
on.
so sorry, yeah.
No problem, but this, we need to just do one small
Sure.
bookkeeping,
Make a-
tidying thing.
So first, a motion would need to be made by one of the voting members that voted
Correct.
on the
So,
application.
So moved,
To open the app, okay,
so moved to reopen the consent. Consent
number 16.
number
Or
Number
no, 11.
11.
well, Diane,
Yes,
sorry,
Oh, yeah.
you were chairing that?
yes, it was.
So
Sorry.
you would say all in favor,
I-
and then
I
whoever
forgot I was
recused
chairing
from
it.
that, which was me and Val, would not be able to vote.
Right.
So,
Oh, right.
yeah.
So I, would like a motion to open 11, which is 16 Allen's Lane. The applicant is requesting it. All those in favor? Somebody make the motion?
Yeah, that's, so moved.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I can actually speak on this one because I don't have to. So what we've just done, John, is this woman, and you feel free to have a
thank
seat
you,
if you
thank
want. She wants to tell us something about one of the consent items that's already been approved, okay? So we've just pulled it out of consent and we've reopened it, and it's item 11 under consent.
16 Elm Lane?
16 Allen's Lane, and if you would be so kind as to give us your name for the record,
I'm Ronnie Roberts.
okay? Got it? And what would you like to tell us about this consent item?
Well, I learned today, originally I was approved for 2/1s. And then I learned today, we want to do the 400 series, the thermal, and when I looked to see what was available, I thought it was only 6/1s. Someone told me that no, you can ask and get a 2/1. So I just want to go back to the original application of the 2/1s. There is a size change that we did, that was approved with this most recent request. So I basically just want to scale it back. It's a minor change, I think.
The size of the windows is changing
The
as
size of the
well?
window is minimally. In the application, the revision application, I did ask for a slight size change. But the biggest thing is that I wanna go back to the original of the 2/1.
So let's stay on the minimally point for just a second. When you
I don't
said
have
there's
that
a
with me.
minimal size change, is it inches?
I put it in the application, I did not bring that with me tonight.
Is it
Okay.
larger or smaller?
A little bit smaller.
A little bit smaller, okay. And you also want to go from a 6/1, which was previously approved tonight on consent. You want to go from a 6/1 to a 2/1.
Which was approved with my first application, yes,
Oh, it was?
yeah.
Oh, well, then what are you requesting?
Well, because you approved the 6/1 change,
Yeah,
I kinda have to erase that part and go back to the 2/1 change. There were other changes, like a couple of windows were eliminated, because when we laid out where the stairs are going to be in there, it kind of, when you're working with a tiny house, you are working with quite literally inches to make
Yeah.
a difference.
okay.
And so that changed where we could put a couple of windows. The stairs got in the way of one of them, and then having to move the shower got in the way of the other one.
Yes.
So
It's a tiny house.
it is tiny. I had to have my head examined.
Okay, so right now, the house has 1/1s, correct? Looks that way, or maybe that's just
Well,
the storm
sometimes.
windows.
Those, no,
Sometimes.
Oh, I see.
it's a shanty. And
Yeah.
so there's sort of a mishmash there, quite honestly,
Oh, no, I remember reviewing this,
initially, yeah.
yeah, a long time ago. Gosh. So with respect to the drawings, not drawings, with respect to the photographs that we're looking at right now, what's changing? Now, see, those drawings show 6/1s, but she
Right.
doesn't want those anymore.
Right.
She wants 2/1s. And you're saying that this board previously approved, and I must have been sitting on that because I remember this.
Everything was approved.
Here's
with
what it
2/1.
was before,
Yeah,
Is the
And-
2/1s,
approved before.
right, are they the same company that
yes.
is making the other ones, but
Yes.
they are better for the hurricane proof?
They're all Andersons. They're better for thermal. They're better.
The 2/1s are better for thermal than the
No,
6/1s?
that is purely aesthetic. I kind of feel like with a small building to have it, it just kind of makes it a little less visually small to me,
2/1s.
2/1s. And the only reason I
Whoa.
put the revision in for 6/1s is because I thought I couldn't get them in the 400 series with
Okay.
the Andersons.
So, let's just go back a little bit. Let's go back to your previous approval, before there was any consent approval for 6/1s. So you were already approved for 2/1 windows. So the only thing that you're sitting at this table asking us to modify is location of windows?
Okay.
No,
Oh,
just
no,
the size.
are we speaking about the original application or
Yeah.
no, the original application, there is elimination of window.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was, the size of the window is slightly changed, the,
Approved today's revision.
yeah.
Okay.
So, this, on the back, we are changing a door to a slider. That was approved with this revision the revision. The only thing I'm asking tonight, in addition, is just to forget that I asked for 6/1s and go back to the 2/1s with the elimination of 2 windows on the entire building and the change of the door into a slider.
Does this
Does that make
building
sense?
relate to anything else on the site, or is
Here,
it a
yes.
solitary?
What do you mean relate to anything else on the site?
Well, see this?
There are other buildings on the site.
That is one of the buildings.
And which one is
It
it?
is, This building right here, this little thing is no longer there. That was a freezer, that is gone. It is this building right here.
What
What
window configuration does this have?
This has 2/1s on the front, and then on the rest of the house, it's the standard 6/6.
Okay, so this would relate better to
It would be.
the other house
Yes,
on the
it
lot.
would.
Now, just as a point of order here, I'm gonna establish that because this is a new application, it's the regular board. But-
Well, it was already voted on, so you would need the voting members who already voted on this application.
You mean on the consent?
Yes. So it would be Diane, John, Abby, and Jesse.
Okay,
All right,
fine with me.
I think they're
I'll make a move to approve this.
The only
with
thing
the
I will say
change.
as a
As
non-voting
2
member
over
is just, okay, just be
What?
clear what the motion, you know, what you're approving.
That we're changing, that the 6/1s got approved, and now we're approving the 2/1s.
Thank you. I have a whole new appreciation for this entire process. Thank you so much.
Don't you love the bureaucracy?
Oh, you know, it's a
It's
learning,
fascinating.
it's a real learning curve.
So can I
Thank you.
have that vote
Oh, sorry.
as
We're just voting.
we're changing
They're
from
voting.
6/1s to 2/1s in the consent agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Johnny, you gonna vote?
I'm just curious about something. Was there a motion to reopen it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of it. I don't
Okay.
think- I don't think
Thank you.
it's an
That's-
unreasonable request.
Everybody,
Good to go.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Okay, so now we're on to Val's project.
Oh, God.
This is old business, so we got a couple of,
Well, it never was heard.
oh, it was never heard? Oh, well, then we're all on it. How about that?
Let's tear this one up.
Let's tear it up.
Yeah. I'm feeling mean.
You want me to go?
Sure.
Okay, this is an application for a new dwelling
Mhm.
at the end of a dead end called Hiawassee Lane.
New dwelling,
It's off of, Cato.
It's not even labeled on here. Do you access this from sort of like Washamon? It looks like it's an extension. Maybe that's the
No.
back.
It's not part of Nashawquisset. It's at the very end of Cato where it turns to dirt and then the road kind of disappears.
So is this the drive here? This down,
No,
which?
no, no.
No.
Here's Cato.
Right.
You
Yes.
turn on from Cato
Oh, see,
onto,
there's
this is
Washington, it looks
Hiawassee right here.
do you know where Ricky Lewis used to live?
Exactly. His, Ricky Lewis, our former,
Yeah.
undertaker,
Yes.
he built a big gambrel house right here in
Okay.
a cottage, which
Okay.
just got renovated. This
Yep.
is down at the end.
Got it.
As far as you can go, it backs up to the cemetery, and in back of it is land bank property.
No, new
No,
dwelling.
new dwelling.
Shit.
You never know.
What are colors though?
Colors are white, architectural, moire, black roof, black front door.
Oh my. Is there anything you want to tell us specifically or just?
It's a shingle style house. It emulates a house that they have presently where they live in Michigan, and they're moving to Nantucket. Wife is a physician, and they were trying to sort of emulate what they have here, and I have, believe it or not, modified it to Nantucket. Simplified it a little, but I know that you guys are probably gonna want to add a little more to that simplification, so.
Okay.
The gambrel is very there's quite a few houses out there that are gambrel, so it's not out of order that way. And I did do a modification, just as a quick example of how it could possibly be maybe simplified.
You tipped your hand, Val.
Well, I think it helps, don't you?
I do. Yeah. Do you have
Diane,
multiple copies of that?
what I
I
was
do
gonna
have one
say.
for you.
Now you're talking.
I didn't do the rest of the elevations, just the front to see if this was a more amenable track.
Yes.
Well, you know that I'm normally not the first person to jump out with an opinion, but I think that there is much about the
First one.
original applied for version that we would pick at. You know, the big sort of Palladian window over the front door, this
Yeah.
little sort of pediment that's over the triple window on the left-hand side, the oval window in the door, you know,
Well, the oval window, just to be fair, that's an indent and it's set back.
okay,
It's like a
but
little porch, so that one I
I
don't,
see that carries over into the other.
yeah.
But there's so much more to the other one is just so much more sympathetic. The reduced one, the one you just put on the table.
Right.
Just my opinion, but I would love to hear everyone else's. Where shall I begin? You still digesting?
I can go.
John,
Okay.
this is like the
Yeah,
same
I agree
thing,
with
just
Ray,
simplified.
that the simplifying the second story, getting rid of the Palladian window over the front door and the detail on the far left. Yeah, the simplification of the middle shed, turning to a shed dormer on both the Palladian window, all of them actually, and simplifying that far left gable. Really, I appreciate that from this original drawing. I still would like to see something more Nantucket than the oval window in that arch. Like to see that.
It's set back 5 feet.
I know, dearest. All right, so, and
And we don't, you only provided us with 2 elevations.
Yeah,
right,
because
just
it
to
was a
see.
quick
Yeah, no, I get
suggestion,
it.
yeah.
So,
and ditto on the
yeah,
on the
on the south.
south elevation, that oval window. That, I know you're gonna say you can't see it. Other than that, I think it looks great.
Okay.
What are all these for? Is he an antique collector of cars?
I couldn't say.
What,
I don't
the
know.
garages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he is from Michigan.
And you can't see those, right?
They go out of snow.
That's on the.
Oh, you
They
see the
face-
doors?
Yeah, yeah, they
They
definitely
face the
face.
side where you pull into the driveway.
You know, the other thing I just wanna say, I don't wanna hold this application up, but I don't know this neighborhood that well, but you said there was already a gambrel there, right?
Right on the
Ricky
corner.
Lewis. Yeah, that, you can, in the aerial photo, you can see that they've been doing renovation with this one
But-
right here.
I don't wanna hold it up, but I
So
was gonna
you're-
ask for a
that's
view,
there
but
and-
just because I don't know this area
Okay,
that well,
well,
but
that's legit.
I'd like to hear what other people say.
Okay. Jesse?
Yeah, definitely a huge difference from what's applied and what you've drawn. There's something about the trim on the gambrels. Is there something that jumps out that's different than a typical gambrel, but something comes across different there?
It's very
Maybe that's the
thick.
Michigan style gambrel.
It has like a frieze.
Yeah.
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 And I don't know, yeah, it's hard. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're going in the right direction with this, and I look forward to seeing the rest of the elevations and revisions.
Okay.
I don't know if cottage corners would work on this, but it could be a possibility.
Actually, cottage corners fit really well with this style of
That would look
architecture.
really
The shingle
nice.
style.
Yeah.
Can I just echo Jesse's comment on the double trim around, especially that far right, what's it called, gambrel? It draws attention to the fact that it's not, that it's a sort of it's a very narrow gambrel. So it's drawing attention to that.
The build up to the trim.
This, yeah, so I would like to see that reduced.
Okay, good. Diane?
On the east elevation, the dormer with all those windows in it, I would
Yep.
prefer to see the little windows, the 404s.
I'm sorry, Diane, I didn't hear you, what?
The little windows on the 401s
Yeah,
in that dormer,
yep,
perhaps think about getting rid of them and separating the others with the shutters just a little bit. The other, and I'm not sure you would see the south elevation, it's been a long time. I think you might see it through the cemetery, but I'm not sure if that's considered public.
west is facing the
You gotta
cemetery.
ask the lieutenants.
I was thinking of that south elevation, the 4 windows in the little center thing would be better perhaps to have 3 windows rather than 4. Which is sort of a better balance with the 2
Yeah,
6/1s above it.
I'll look at it, that's a
Oh.
sunroom,
yeah, that,
but, okay, I'll look at it.
can I add to that?
See, I wouldn't mind the windows being 3 bigger windows.
Okay,
It's just,
We are talking about that dormer above the garage, right?
no,
No.
she's on
yeah, I
the
was talking about the
first
dormer
floor.
above the garage,
Okay,
and
got
now
it.
I'm talking
I
about the
understand, yes, yes.
south elevation center. That she has 2 windows up above and 4 below.
Yeah.
I just think it would be better balanced if it had 3 below, maybe a little bigger, because she has all that space between the end of the window and the bottom first floor of the house.
I think those 2 windows up there look a little wall-eyed too. I don't know whether it should just be one large one, like ones that you have coming across, or whether
The
they should
6
be
over,
pulled
what are they? 8/1s?
No, she's talking about the little ones in the
I
gambrel.
know what she's saying, bigger.
Oh,
Oh, like the ones to the far left, or
Yeah, something.
Okay,
they just look, they don't sort of, they're not relating to one another, they just sort of,
they dislike each other.
they're still getting.
You all set, Diane?
Yep,
for now?
that's it.
Okay, thank you. John?
Yes, this, what is this? This is the change.
That, so Val anticipated that we were gonna have some issues with like the oval windows, and also she did a version that toned everything down. You know,
This is, but it doesn't show all 4 sides.
no, I'm
does
gonna
not.
do it, I'm gonna
She's
do
gonna
it, that
do
was
it.
just an idea.
And if you're gonna do it, I think, first goes on the front. Front, okay, we got this out over the porch,
Yep,
7 inches the minimum pitch, and there's room to put, make that a 7.
it's a porch, but I'll look at it.
I think it could be, you know. The other one is the
oval window.
other oval door that I can find.
No, that's a window,
Huh?
that's a window set back into an
This is the
entryway.
window?
Yep,
But it's a window and a door, right?
no, it's just the wall, it's a
Oh.
little 3-sided
oh,
entry, you walk
okay,
in
okay.
and you can go in the garage or go to the house.
it.
And it's 5 feet back in that.
Try and point the visibility of it.
In the
And
5 foot
I can't find
alcove.
another one in my mind where there's another that has that. It's just for the character, for the style. The rest of it looks great. If you're gonna redo it, I think you should do it the way it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion
Aren't we forgetting someone? Me.
You went first.
No, well, no, but I had one other thing I want to reiterate. So, I actually do think that because it's white, I think that the built-up sort of trim on this house needs to be brought down a bit, because, I mean, just looking at it by eye, it's over a foot,
Yep.
of pure white. So, and in fact, if part of it's sticking out, then it's even looking like more than a foot of pure white. So I think you might want to tone that down, but you definitely hit the nail on the head with your little revision steps, so we appreciate that. Okay,
Motion to hold for revisions?
thank you. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
For revisions, thanks.
All right.
I wasn't on this.
You
Yes.
notice everybody wants to be chairman but me.
No, I don't.
We're gonna make you chairman next, fella.
Huh?
You're gonna be the chairman next.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna touch
We'll
it.
need 3 minutes a week.
Okay, next up, we got 28A Evergreen Way.
Right,
Any takers?
Oh, this one's been up how many
he's
times?
been here, it's been on the,
It has not
Yeah, it
changed.
looks familiar. So nobody here for 28A
Motion to
Evergreen
hold
Way.
for representation.
Thank you, Abby. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
aye,
Okay, so now we are on North Liberty Street. You guys North Liberty?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hi there.
I already checked it off. I hope you do well on this.
What do you mean?
She's already given you a passing grade for something.
This is the first time
he's not here,
Oh.
yet again.
I didn't, I thought this was the first new business meeting this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right after New Year's, we got that new business.
Yeah. Sneak.
Okay. So, this is essentially new, so that it will be, the regular board.
Could we have names for the record, please?
Robert Newman. Joseph Green.
Joseph,
Green. Green.
G-R-E-E-N. For the second name.
And Eleanor Green.
Green, I just spelled it.
Okay, I'm just gonna read Historic Structures Advisory Board comments, so we all have them in mind when we're looking at the drawings. So it says, west elevation, shutters should be louvered, 1905 appropriate. That must be the vintage at the house.
Yep.
Anderson's SDL, not appropriate, prefer wood windows. And it says HSAB wants to see this back, well, they actually kind of say that every time. But, there's HSAB comments. So, Robbie, you wanna just give us a walkthrough?
Yeah, I do. The Greens have approval to do an addition with some renovation work in the back. And included with that was, if you go to that last page, I think it shows what was approved.
The last big page?
Oh, on this.
That?
What's the age of the house?
105.
1905.
Here we go, yeah. This is what was approved, this was the original, this was what was approved with these window changes. This was the original back of the house, this is what you approved, whenever it was, September or something. These were the window changes. So when we, put the application in for building permit, because of the new energy code, they wouldn't approve it, on a historic status, because it's not an ROH. So they gave us the permit with a stipulation that we got a, U value of 0.3, which we can't get with a wood window. So that's why we're here, to change, our original application was for Boston sash. They wouldn't give us a permit because it didn't meet.
They have a form though that you can be
Well-
exempt.
Well,
So that's why
maybe,
we're here.
maybe Robbie's not aware of that, but I wanna make sure of two things. So, did you just say that this is not in the OHD?
Right.
It's not.
You said the
Okay.
ROH.
Yeah, it's not in the old historic court.
You said the ROH, which is the
Right.
residential old historic.
Thank you for clarifying
Okay.
that. But what you meant was this is not in the HDC's old historic district.
No, that's right.
Okay, so the
Will
rule,
you repeat that, please?
okay, well, John will actually confirm this, cause he's
Am I
got a
missing
map.
it? Or does it
So,
give an age?
John, Robbie is saying that this house is not in the HDC limits of the old historic district of Nantucket.
Okay, that's what I wanted to halt it there, because I have the map if you wanna see it.
No, so we
It
should,
goes up North Liberty Street.
we should take a look,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But
So
so,
you know, there's
now,
nothing wrong with it.
the way the rule works, you actually have some options here that you might not be aware that you have.
Keep for the record.
So, if it's outside of the, old historic district as defined by the HDC, which unfortunately is not the same old historic district as defined by the building department, so there's
But
heightened
it is a
confusion.
contributing
So it's a
building
construct-
from the National Register.
Okay, so it's a contributing structure.
So you're over here in the middle,
Now-
right here on, North Liberty Street. You pass it over there.
As a contributing structure, our board can write a letter saying that you have a contributing structure and it entitles you to certain,
Exemptions from the
exemptions, thank you
energy
very
code.
much, exemptions from, the energy code, hurricane code, things like that. So, if we wrote this letter, you could do the Boston Sash or whatever it was you wanted to have.
Okay, that's perfect, that's why we're here. However, the Greens would like to, if they could, get the Anderson windows.
Okay, so now here's the other aspect. I'm pretty sure I know where this house is. This is like 2 doors before,
Here,
Gingy Lane,
right.
before
You'll-
Gingy, so it's pat,
near Carver Tools Pottery Studio.
North Liberty Street here.
right.
Somebody-
So
somebody
what we've
say-
been taking into account
Yeah.
recently, certainly not like right downtown, is
Right
the
here.
visibility from the public way
Yeah, this-
and how far away the house is, and as I'm sure you know, a lot of times you really can't tell the difference between a insulated window and a true divided light window from that distance. Was there something about shutters on here?
Shutters
Oh,
of,
okay. Is it safe to say that you guys would be okay with louvered shutters? Okay, just asking.
They're not shutters on there now, right?
No, they're requesting it, but so, HSAB says that if the shutters were louvered, they'd be more appropriate for the, vintage of the house. All right,
What's the name of that?
so all these bubbles really don't have anything to do with anything, right? That's the previous
That the corner
approval,
of
so
Gingy?
the only things we're reviewing is,
the bubbles indicate the windows that
No.
would be new or changed in the elevator.
oh,
The ones that
Still
aren't
Mars.
bubbles are original windows that
that you're just leaving.
they're just leaving and restoring.
Okay, so I wanna go around the table. Diane?
I think I would, it was built in 1905, it's a
Correct.
contributing building. It is on the street. And I would like to see the appropriate windows applied for with the wood. They have a heavy framing around them, so they're quite visible. They do not retreat to the front of the house. So,
When you say the heavy framing, are you talking about the Anderson windows or?
no, these.
The ones that are already there?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
The front ought to be replaced though.
Well,
Oh,
is that just because of the shutters?
Oh, that's just the shutters.
Shutters,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
just the shutters.
yes,
No, all the front windows
are stacked.
Stay.
have all
Oh,
been refurbished. Yeah,
And were you restoring those?
they've all been restored,
Okay.
yeah.
did you hear that, Diane?
What's that?
Okay, so the east elevation, which is the front that faces North Liberty,
Right,
the only reason those are bubbled is not because they want to put Anderson windows in there, but because they're putting shutters on them.
right, then they want the shutters louvered the way the old shutters were.
Well, they just said that would be okay.
Yeah,
But they're not gonna replace those windows. They're leaving those
Yeah.
windows the way they are.
I
So
think
the ones that are actually in question are the ones on the sides and on the back. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's
And not
correct.
all of them.
Just the ones that are bubbled.
Just the ones that are bubbled on the north elevation, which are very few, there's 4 of them total. On the south elevation, there's 5 of them total. And then on the back, it looks like all of them.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
and what is the matter with the existing windows?
The ones in the back, that's where the addition and the renovation, major portion of the renovation is taking place. The ones in the bay window on the, I guess that's the south side, there was some structural damage there and so forth, and I think that contributed to the decay of those windows, and it's not worth restoring those, I think is the reason.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
just a point of clarification.
Yep.
It is located in the old historic district.
I thought it
Okay.
was,
It's in there.
Okay. Thank you.
It's both sides of the street on the street.
Okay.
I'd
Thanks.
like to maybe do a windows survey and see what the age of those windows are, particularly in the, on the, what is it, south elevation. Answer we get lots of times is, well, the windows are deteriorating, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they really are.
I think that's completely valid, Diane.
See what age they are.
And then I'd also like to, personally, I'd like to view this to see at what sort of distance we're gonna be viewing now that I know which windows you propose to, replace, how visible they are from the street, the sidewalk.
And the little way going down on the north side of the house, what, does that have a name?
No,
It's just a driveway?
it's just a common driveway.
Is it paved or
No
shell?
shells,
Shell, right. Or
Oh, I
just-
see, 20-foot private way.
yeah,
So there's other houses back there somewhere?
just one,
Just one.
so it's common
Does
to
the
us.
back,
Right in
does-
back of it, so you wouldn't see the back of this if you could see it from the
Uh-huh. Yeah,
What do we have for the zoning district listed?
R1.
Alright.
But here, no, this is a point of perpetual confusion among everyone.
Yeah, it's the
The-
OHD of HDC.
Yeah, the zoning designation for OHD and the HDC designation for OHD are different. The maps are different. And one of the things we're trying to work on is to get them the same, because it's hugely confusing. Because everybody looks at the zoning thing and says, oh, I'm out of the OHD, I'm good. And then it turns out you look at the HDC map and you're not. So, what do you think, guys? So the shutter
Can I go?
issue seemed, well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so because the back is, being renovated, I wouldn't mind the Andersons on the back.
Okay.
But I think restoring, like, Diane said, the bay, restoring those windows or getting true divided like the Boston sash that you had originally, been okay to do, because as you're going to see the bay, but the kitchen window that you've revised here is behind this bump out, so I wouldn't mind if the kitchen windows were
That would be
also,
okay.
Good
Yeah.
point. Very good point.
Anderson.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with compromising in that respect.
Great. Okay. John?
Okay, I it's a nice old admirable house from what I've learned in my lifetime.
Yeah.
This is a nice house, and it's appropriate. Window requests are appropriate, and I think I've tried one thing that I've always loved, because I used to get to Bob Taylor's house all the time. Anyway, and before they had all this decking, and right now you have a beautiful spot, because you sit up there with your binoculars and a cold beer, and look out over all that wetland. See all the birds, they get loaded with all kinds of birds. I like it, thank you.
Thanks, John. Val, have you gone yet?
No, I agree with Abby. I don't mind if the addition in the rear of the house or even the sides of the addition have SDLs at all.
Okay, so
But
let me,
and I just wanted to tell Robbie too, that they did make up a form, even if it's not contributing. If you can't have true divided, SDL windows, that's a box that you check, and that's the reason you can't make the energy code. Alan made up some kind of a form.
well, but we also have to write a letter as the agency.
Not necessarily, because
Oh,
some
really?
historic houses that are non-historic houses in town can't change their windows out.
Correct. But I always thought that we had to write a letter saying, it's in the historic district. I mean, it was a little ridiculous because we were writing letter after letter, but, okay, so let me just ask then. So it sounds like a proposal that might actually fly, is the east elevation, also known as the front, would go to louver shutters. You're not proposing changing the windows there anyway, okay? And to Abby's point, well, let me cut to the chase. The only windows that sort of seem to be in question would be the ones in the bay.
Correct.
So, do you want an approval, or somebody at this table, I believe, would make a motion to approve this basically as submitted, with the stipulation that the windows in the bay be refurbished rather than be Anderson's?
So moved.
Okay, well, did I capture?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I
Okay,
think because.
so John has made a motion to approve as submitted, with the following, stipulations. One, the shutters on the east elevation would be louvered. Two, that rather than replace the windows in the bay on the south elevation, they would be refurbished. That's John's motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Thank you very
Thanks a
much.
lot.
You got all that?
Okay, Brooke, are you here? Brooke here?
Motion to hold for representation.
Where the hell is he? Well, let me just
Hold
ask,
toward the end
okay,
of the bill.
is anybody else here to represent 1 Washington Avenue?
We did the
Oh, we're finally on
advisory saw it the second time this morning,
Yeah,
and the design is fine. The
Yeah.
location is the problem.
okay.
That's the only problem with it that
well,
we have.
But, okay, so Linda, without Brooke here, if you guys are writing a recommendation for it to move elsewhere, we should probably let Brooke represent it.
Yeah, but
So-
you've got a recommendation from us on that.
Okay, but we're gonna hold that one, all right, just so that he gets a fair shot.
Motion to hold, 1 Washington Ave for representation.
Very good, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 2, Ed Lemberg.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Tori. How you doing?
Good, how are you? Happy New Year.
Thanks, you too.
White Whale Lane, I like that. It's got a nice.
knew you would.
You know what, I'm gonna recuse because I'm doing some work.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you're recusing, thank you for telling us now, because, Jesse, you can jump in, all right? Is that all right with you, bud?
Yes, yep.
All right, okay,
John, did he
Victoria.
submit like a subdivision plan or no? Where you see the whole instead of just the lot? Oh, the locus, I guess you have.
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
we got it.
Okay,
Behind the,
it's behind the, what's that?
Oddfellows.
On Bartlett Road.
Oh,
So you go
yeah,
down
yeah,
Cradle Lane and you take that
we've
first
reviewed a
right.
couple more.
Yeah, we've
in
got 2 duplexes so far on the left,
Okay.
and this is on the right, the first lot on the right.
All right.
And I believe this, right behind Oddfellows Hall on Bartlett Road.
You know that little road that goes alongside of Oddfellows, John?
It's off Cato Lane.
Cato Lane.
Cato and then the first right.
Right, yeah,
Okay?
okay. I get it.
And I believe this first main house is similar to a design you approved for Dave Fredericks on Newtown.
Looks like it. What are the colors, Tori?
He did not give me a copy of the application. Could you read the colors? I'm sorry.
White, white, white,
Okay.
black architectural finishes.
Okay, thanks, John. Comments from the board?
There's 2 dwellings on this?
2 dwellings are proposed. We've got the next one in line right after
My
this.
question is, are they gonna have air conditioning?
I assume so.
Huh?
I assume so. Where are the condensers?
I don't know where
Yeah.
they go, yeah.
I can come back with a, I'm sure there'll be a
Final
hardscape
answer,
plan.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay?
Diane?
Okay, I was trying to see whether you can do that on the west elevation, the single window on the first floor,
Yep.
can you move it 6 inches so it's
Centered.
centered between the 2 upper windows?
I'm sure that would be fine.
I can't,
Yeah, looks just off.
Yep, I see that.
I don't know, on the kitchen, you have a single, window where
The E window?
the kitchen window has disappeared.
It's on the south elevation.
Okay, south elevation. You had one window, it looks like on the first floor, because it is that's over the sink, and that's a good one. Now, up on the east elevation, all you got is one window in each room. Is that enough? That's a bedroom. One of them, at least, is a bedroom number 1.
East.
Is there any reason why it can't move out to the middle of the room?
No, on the east?
Yeah,
Yeah, so more to the right?
yeah, it would, this way, left.
Yeah,
towards-
you wanna have those windows
yeah, towards
centered on
the-
the ridge?
Yeah,
Towards the front, right, to the left. Got it. Centered on the ridge would be ideal?
yeah, just bring it out, cause you have so much space
Yep.
for the rest of the thing, and I would do the same on bedroom number 3.
Upstairs.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also check out, it doesn't look like you have any cross air for bedroom number 4. You've
Correct.
got 2 windows.
Two
on
windows,
both
no
of the same
cross.
side, and then the other side, which again would be the east, it doesn't have any window at all.
Yep.
Tough on the cross air.
I'm not
okay?
sure where they would put it, but I can certainly make note of that.
Yeah, if they might be able to put it there, you can have one in a closet, we have time
That's true, yep,
put one in a closet, but it will give them air,
yep.
so that's all. It would be to center those windows in those places,
Yep, okay.
okay?
You good?
Yeah, that's,
Let's see, Abby.
I'd like to see the dormers on the second floor in both the, north and south elevation set back and made smaller, so they're not so, they're a bit overwhelming.
The north too?
Yeah, the north and this,
Actually,
yeah, I'm
The
not,
North looks
north
like it's
is
over a
set back.
foot or so, yeah.
could you reduce the front, on the north? That is especially sort of overwhelming to the house. I'm not sure if you can get away with it on the back.
reduce, what were you going to reduce, Abby?
The two dormers on the second floor, They seem-
reduced meaning pushed back. Right now, on the south elevation, the dormer is in the same, dormer face is in the same plane as the wall below it. And if you push it back, you're gonna have more shingle and therefore less, I should say, more roof shingle
And less
and
wall.
less wall shingle if you push it back.
yeah,
The south, I totally see it. The north looks like it's
The
fairly,
north is set back, I
Set back
don't know
more.
by how
The
much.
north looks right, the south is too big, I guess.
yeah,
it's just that these two dormers just seem overpowering for the
Size.
structure. So either make them smaller or,
Well, right, so one solution, and I agree with that, one solution is to push it back more, and then you're gonna have less room underneath the sill.
and I don't know
I
about,
don't think it's a huge sacrifice on the second floor in those bedrooms necessarily, to take 6 inches out.
Because that big one is a walk-in closet.
right.
Okay, so was that it, Abby?
yes.
All right, Val.
I'm not on it, I'm.
Oh, right, you recused, Jesse, sorry.
I think everyone covered any of my concerns, so, yeah.
Okay, so we're looking, John, did I get you? Sorry.
I have one couple of comments, that's all. You're gonna have air conditioning, right?
Yes.
On your rear elevation, and the stairwell, there's no fencing on the design.
I'll have them add that.
And on left elevation, it doesn't show the short railing when it turns, and then to the right elevation.
Does it turn? I thought it
Yeah.
was straight down the back.
And I'm looking for, the stairways are there. Going down to the cellar.
It's on the other side of that porch. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you want it there too? Yep, gotcha.
The rest of it looks good.
Okay, great.
We're
Okay,
gonna hold for revisions?
yeah,
or
we're
do
gonna
you
hold
want-
for some
Yeah.
minor
Okay.
revisions.
Come back with those minor revisions.
Okay,
Motion to hold for revisions.
very good, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we'll hear your second dwelling, which appears to be smaller than this one. These modulars?
Yeah. Well, I think we'll end up stick building them, but it's a modular company that did these designs.
Got it.
That's what they're there for.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a million. Okay, that's the main house we just reviewed. Hey, have we reviewed any pools tonight?
No, but there's one coming up.
It's,
Not funny.
Chilly.
the pool tidal wave has subsided.
Yeah. Only because these people were relaxed.
I don't know when the warrant closes, but,
I
Last
think
week.
The 10th, it was published on the 10th.
oh, good.
Surprised to see
Yeah,
one
so
in
that's
here.
the end of
They're
that.
dead.
For
They're
a
not
little
put
while.
anymore.
There's one in here, surprisingly.
I have the opposite problem with this one. You know, I would, like, I would fill in the windows.
Oh, it's tiny.
Tiny.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a few properties that are not affected
Do you want me to go ahead? Okay. So, yeah, this one's, nicely proportioned, and window to wall, except on the rear elevation, I would put, I don't know what's in there, I haven't looked, but, I would put 2 or 3 windows in that dormer, or reduce the dormer. Because right now, the window is just, yeah,
Okay, so maybe add another window?
yeah, please. That's all I have.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I agree with Abby on that, on that rear south elevation, and, as John mentioned on that last one, put some railing on.
Railing, yep, I made that note already.
Yeah. on that. No concerns.
Okay. Diane?
So are we separating those?
The windows?
Yeah,
On the
We're happy
second
to do
floor?
that.
on the second floor, I don't
Gable
know,
end?
I tried to get the right elevation.
Do like
The
a stud
first floor
pocket?
plan, it would help if I was on the first floor, second floor plan. No, I see why you need them because of the sloped ceiling. What are those big empty spaces here?
In the back corners, those
Yeah.
that's the roof plane
Coming
around the
down?
dormer, yeah.
Okay,
So that's like a knee wall area.
Yeah.
so that is understandable, but otherwise you wouldn't get it in. So I'm all set.
Okay. John?
Same comment, air conditioners and fencing.
You got it.
Thank you.
I have nothing to add. I think you guys covered it. So, can I have a motion on this one?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Very good.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Okay.
thank you.
Cory.
You got it.
See you later. Okay, so we do have a pool here. Do you have anybody from Chips? Oh, there you are.
How can we have a pool when I thought they closed on the 10th?
You know, you're not allowed to have a pool anymore. Sorry.
We decided to get as far as we could with it. Yeah.
Oh,
not get the
just
permit.
Why do we get HTC approval if they can't
Oh, this
build
Because
it?
the HGC approval's good for 3 years.
Not to mention, it doesn't mean that every pool's not exempt.
Yes, it is.
No,
Yes, it is.
No, it is.
It has to be exempt. Cudweed is practically in the water.
You mean the road or the?
Behind Bartlett Farm,
It's that
Oh,
road that goes
yeah.
right down to the beach there.
and there are pools out there already.
This is
Yeah,
the,
neighbor
Right
said
next
that's
door.
cool.
Right.
Yep.
this is the, what's the zoning on this one?
I think it's log 3.
Is it log 3 or isn't there that?
Log 2.
What is this?
And that's where the, helicopters.
Okay.
No fence, just a pool cover.
Yeah, automatic pool cover.
No, this isn't in
No
log 2.
planting or,
This is in that, yeah, this
Just
doesn't matter.
whatever's
Vegetation.
native, that's there. Just whatever's native, that's there.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding these drawings, but it looks like the vegetation is about 2 feet high.
Those pictures were taken yesterday, so they're probably higher in the summer.
we have to have a drawing of it.
Okay,
What kind of, you don't have any, landscape plan?
Not at this point, no, just the pool and patio.
I think
I
you're
It's
gonna
already
need,
pretty well.
I think you're gonna need one,
Together.
It's
because,
not a new house, so they're not gonna be changing the whole yard. They're just
But
doing
the
the one area.
landscape is, it's just flat moors, it's just completely open.
Right, well, they can't touch that, so the pool is like right up to the setback as it is.
Doesn't make any difference,
Okay.
it has to be vegetation.
So I think the difficulty here. The difficulty, you want to, oh,
Pictures.
because that looks pretty wide open.
It is, yeah.
Right. So the whole reason we review pools is to make sure that they are not visible from the public way. So hopefully when you drive around and you look for pools, you won't see too many because the ones that you see, we haven't done our job properly.
That
So,
photo's taken from the driveway, actually. Just
This
showing where
photo?
it'd be going, yeah.
okay.
So you can tell from the
Okay,
site
now,
plan.
like, is that the driveway? I
No.
bet that's a public way.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
you know, all this
that's
landscape
our
is
way.
like totally wide open. So, in a certain weird sense, it would actually benefit you to have a fence or something so that you can't see it. No, okay.
I think it's inappropriate for this area.
Anyway, let's go around the table. John,
Some of their houses sound like someone's gonna be looking in their backyard.
Alloway, okay.
let me come back to you. It's right behind Bartlett's.
Yeah, okay, I see it here now, yeah, okay, yeah. No, the only comment I got on this was open without anything, just showing where something possibly could be. The fact, tonight, the last 4 weeks, we've approved 39 pools all over the island.
58.
58.
Thank you.
I counted 45.
Since the end of November.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Diane?
I cannot approve this until I see a vegetation plan of what is planned there.
Okay.
There is no pool built that's just put in there, and you look at this, I don't know if it's the same house, it's hard to tell, but the vegetation in there is very, very short. I would have to have a vegetation plan of how to hide the pool, fencing. If you're not gonna have a fence, then, see what they want to plant.
Right. Val?
I actually think no one's ever gonna see this because
Really?
these pictures, well, here's an example of maybe what you'd see coming away from the house on Heller's Way. If there is just a pool cover, what are we gonna ever see?
The pool cover.
The bluestone,
There's
The
already a
umbrella-
bluestone patio there and you can't see
where,
it.
where,
If you look where Heller's Way comes by this house, you have to loop into their yard. The garage is the first thing you hit and the pool is going
I think, but I'm
in
not saying
back
we're
of the
not going to
house.
give them the
Right
pool.
here is where it's going.
There's wall bang.
That's way over there.
Yeah, but it isn't all that far away when you're out there. And they want to put the pool down there in that corner. And what is that?
That's an undeveloped road.
At the moment, it's an undeveloped, and there's another one that comes up here. It's been some time. They used to be part of my route
Yeah.
that I remember. But
Mm.
if we let it build and then the roads go in, then you can't go back and say, if she puts some sort of vegetation that's 3 or 4 feet high, then they protected it. We try and do it in perpetuity. There are 2 roads, if you look at your site plan, going around that house.
Mhm.
One of them, I think, is a dirt road going down towards the water.
You mean the proprietor's way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but those roads, as far as the people who live there, do tend to use them when they're moving stuff around. That's all. I'm only
Okay.
one person who.
No, well, you could put up a split rail fence and put some of those grasses and it would
Yeah.
cover it.
Yes, It doesn't need a big project.
We heard from you guys.
I haven't
Wait.
said anything.
Yeah, go ahead, Abby.
Well, yeah, just judging from this simple plan, and, you know, looking at the landscape, I just can't imagine a pool here. So, and I don't know where it would go, because maybe Val's right, maybe this is the only place it could go, because if you have it near Heller's Way, then you're going to be able to look back from the road and see it, because the vegetation is so low. But I would like to see this in combination with some sort of landscaping, so I know it wouldn't be seen.
Okay. Yeah, that sort of echoes my sentiment on this. You know, you must have been sitting in the audience for a lot of the stuff that we were discussing on the Westerwick. You know Westerwick?
No, I didn't catch
What
that one.
Westerwick is, you know, a little further over this way. It's the same outwash plain, really low vegetation. There were actually two applications, and we were probably
We beat 'em up.
6, 7 meetings on each one of those, because what we were looking for was two things. One, because it's an outwash plain and because the natural vegetation is so low, we were doing our normal looking to screen the pool from any public way, and in this case, I have a feeling that you'd be able to see the pool, given the vegetation, from that proprietor's wear, whatever it was called. And the second was that the vegetation would be installed in such a way that it was very naturalized, so it didn't look architectural and straight line like, you know, your normal privet thing. So those were the two. Yeah, see, Abby's pointing to these trees here that are very sort of sparse in the landscape, and so we're looking for assurances that the pool won't be seen from a public way, and we're also looking for assurances that the vegetation won't look architectural and out of place with its context.
You know, not a squared off privet.
Right.
They had some trees there wrapped in.
Yeah,
They
they
do.
do.
Yeah. Okay.
Try to make it
So-
naturalistic.
Do you have a motion on this one?
They'll hold for a vision.
There you go. All those in favor of Diane's motion? Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And so you have one more.
Yep, one more.
The roll top tool,
What?
roll top tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More.
This is a revision. It dropped it. That's
Yeah. They're going on to the dump.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, Barrett Farm Road peels off this way. You know that little road?
Oh, yeah.
Goes diagonally off. There's a little road that goes out this way.
Oh.
So it's back that way. If you kept going, you get into Eel Plant Road over here.
So this is the way to the dump, this way?
Correct. Dumps right over here. Okay. Would you like to tell us what you are proposing?
Alright, so this is an existing house on Swift Rock Road, and it was approved for an addition. And now we'd like to amend that approval, and we're
Oh.
changing the roof pitch and the style of the balcony in the back. And that's it.
Are these quarter-inch drawings?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
There's no trick in here.
Trick.
It's a really
And they're quarter-inch.
So you're raising up the roof pitch of the main roof and the gable that comes off it, correct?
Well, what actually happened is our record drawings were incorrect. The main roof plate height was lower than what it actually is. So when they started doing the addition, they realized that. So now we're changing some other roof pitches to accommodate it. So
Got
the
it.
main roof, as shown in the revised version, is actually where it is in real life. So we need to change the addition to work with it.
The addition was that gable that I saw
On the east elevation.
yeah, the east elevation.
Right, so before it was at a 9/12 pitch, and we want to increase that to a 12/12 pitch.
Okay.
I think it looks better.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Can I make a thing?
Comment?
Yeah, I guess one. The dormers have to be 3 feet in.
The dormer in the back is an existing dormer.
What?
That's an existing dormer. They're not adding that.
This is all here.
Oh, that's
She's
all.
just taking the pitch.
So
height.
Diane, did you have the benefit of seeing these?
No,
Okay, so these are the those are the existing photos of the house. Photos
Oh,
of the
so they're
existing
just
house.
working with what they got.
Yeah,
Right, basically.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna recuse from this, please.
Okay. Jesse, you wanna jump in?
They stepped
Oh,
Oh, Jesse. The invisible
Jesse.
man. Okay, well,
well, I was
Making a
gonna,
peep.
hmm?
Not even making a peep.
I was gonna make a motion to approve it, so
Whoa.
maybe we don't need.
No, we don't,
First.
I don't think we do. Well, it's obviously we don't. So.
what do you think, Diane, based on that?
No, I mean, it's already up, and all
Yeah.
they're doing is changing the pitch of the roof, right?
None.
Dropping this down.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Motion to approve.
As submitted, all those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Very good, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
However,
Robbie,
the dormers are still only 2 feet in.
hello again.
Back in the days when you could have good feet.
You got a lot going on down there on Wall Street, don't you?
boy.
Or the vicinity.
Demo. Move demo. Where do you want to move
There's
it to?
nothing on this page.
Nobody's gonna take this. Oh, you know what? That was, just go to the photographs. Those were the drawings. The house was built in the 80s, so the drawings are really old and faded. I just put that in there because Catherine sent them to me and I didn't want them.
You want to demo that?
Yep.
Wow.
This sort of narrow shotgun building with the big brick chimney on the side?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm.
there are several reasons if anybody really wants to know.
Where's the one?
That costs me a penny or two if you don't.
Why don't you tell us what the reasons are?
Okay,
So,
so it's, I think the construction date was 84, okay? And, it's been added, the original design really didn't fit the site to begin with. They've had a few additions and modifications, like to that garage and so forth. It's an upside-down house, it's not particularly well-built. It's been through the floods like everybody else down there. And the nail in the
Coffin?
yeah was that the neighbor to on the North Beach Street side put in a garage. Well, it's a second dwelling garage apartment, which was built right up against the the setback, which is from me to you, from the back of their house. So, you know,
Okay.
if you see the photographs of the back of the house, it's not very useful. They have some stairs there. It's very damp. There's no sun. It's, they're ready to change and move on.
Okay.
Those are the reasons.
You gonna keep the chimney?
Does anyone at the table have any objections to this wonderful architectural marvel going away?
I don't.
Where'd John go?
He slipped out.
He gave me the file.
Didn't he recuse or something?
That
I
was
don't
only
recall.
one.
No, I don't have a
So
problem with
Jesse,
the
you're
demo.
on it. So, what's your view?
I have no concerns.
Me
Okay.
either.
Good.
Okay.
Diane shaking her head no. Can I have a motion?
Motion to demolish,
Approve demo, move off.
move off.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Of This motion, thank you. Okay, now we're gonna look at the new dwelling.
It's gonna be very sensitively done.
I'm sure it will be. Well, the first thing is it's gonna have to be in a reach
Right,
up.
this one, the curb is at 3 feet, so this one's going up 4.5 feet, something like that.
Oh, boy. What's the age?
The height of it is, oh, 29 8.
Bring that back, that demo.
It's quite big.
It's so tall, does it?
Whoa!
It's,
Wow.
May I?
please,
Well, before we get started into that, I will read into the record a letter from the neighbor. All right. It's addressed to John. Thanks for talking to me on Wednesday. I'm off island, unable to return in time for the HCC meeting. My sister and I jointly own 46 Walsh, which abuts 48 Walsh. I live year-round in Pulpus. I have some serious concerns about the new dwelling being proposed for 48 Walsh. My concerns primarily relate to the potential for flooding in that area of Brant Point. Over the years, the problem has gotten much worse. And last winter was especially bad. Many sections of Wall Street were underwater and/or ice for a significant portion of the winter. There is really no place for the water to go, since the water table is so high and there are no storm drains in that section of Walsh. It seems to me that the fairest plan for each property prone to flooding is to maximize the potential for any precipitation to be absorbed and filtered down through the individual property, and not to send the runoff to adjacent properties on the street. I think that reasonable modifications to this proposed site can be made to minimize the impact of the neighboring properties as well as Walsh. One, much of the open ground is covered hardscaping such as bricks and tables. I can't tell which from the plan. Water tends to run off these types of surfaces instead of finding its way down into the ground. Gravel for 1 or 2 parked cars and a natural landscaping would be a lot better. If necessary, maybe approve a few wood walkways with space between the boards to allow the water to get to the ground underneath. There is also a large raised exterior deck between the two buildings. The decking should allow for water to drain down between the boards. I can't tell what will be underneath this deck. I suggest there be gravel or grass, some natural landscaping underneath that allows water to percolate through the ground. 3, the finished grade should be level, without any sloping down towards the property lines or towards the street. 4, if the ground needs to be dug out for a foundation, can the material be used to fill back in the property to be as porous as possible? It also looks like, 5, it also looks like on a portion of the lot the front's wall, that the pavers extend past the property line and into the public way. Are property owners allowed to pave sections of the public way? There also looks like a row of trees or bushes will be planted along the rest of the frontage of the public way. Can't this section in public way or be gravel or grass instead? So I have two things to say about this letter.
I already know.
One,
There's no art.
none of them have anything to do with our purview. And two, it's interesting, the reason that it floods in Brant Point is because essentially there's no place for the water to go. That could be beach sand and it's still gonna flood because that's where the groundwater is. It's right there. So making the lawn more pervious is not gonna help anything in flood or high tide or anything like that. So that's
But
not,
having brick all the way around your
Well-
house is an anomaly.
it is,
And
but
they get
that's an architectural issue, not a flooding issue,
Right.
for us anyway.
We approach that, right? We speak on the architectural. of
The
whole.
architectural aspect of it,
And what about,
sure.
well, for her own interest, she should look it up if it's in the public way. They can't.
Well,
Trees.
aprons go in the public way. Now, the trees, what happens, and I've actually been in this situation before, if you plant trees in the road easement, and the DPW does not want you to have them there, they'll make you take them out.
Right,
Absolutely.
or they become
Town.
owned by the DPW.
Yeah,
Also.
that's at their risk. Anyway, so we're here to speak to the architectural issues. So, caught a glimpse. Looks pretty big.
It is 4 inches, 6 inches from being 30 feet tall, which is tall for Wall Street.
Well, to be fair, today I was down there and in this area, there are tall buildings.
That tall?
I think what we need to keep in mind is that it is 29.8. Oh, it's 33.8.
Right.
Okay, but that's because,
The water table.
right,
I know, but it still gives the
so,
building a huge height.
yeah, do you wanna go or you want to come back?
I'll do whatever you want. Okay.
You might as well, you want to go ahead.
All right. Well, that primarily is my concern. Is I know that it's that high because of the water flooding thing, but it's still, you could take that into consideration and not make it quite so high. I think that on your north elevation, the dormer on the left-hand side, the windows either should be separated or the dormer brought in, so you don't have so much cheek wall. The same thing on the dormer in the center, again on the north elevation, is not to have all that space on the sides of the dormer. And the same problem would come up obviously on the south. The east elevation is going down towards the harbor, right?
I don't know.
South is towards North Beach Street.
Right, but the east
Here.
is down towards the harbor, towards the Coast Guard station?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a cute house.
I'll get the height done.
It's too tall.
Okay.
Thanks, Diane. Val?
I understand why the height is up there, but any height you can take out of it would be good. I think what's adding to the overall feeling of height is the roof walk. I think because it's kind of sitting on both of those dormers, it feels funny to me. I'd prefer to see no roof walk or get rid of the dormer. I don't know,
Yeah,
either
one or
one.
the other.
Yeah, one or the other.
And if the wings could, like the one on the left has dropped down, so it's more additive mass. I think if the one on the right could also drop down, this is on the North Terry, it would help kind of build the building up. I would eliminate this deck that connects it to the garage and maybe have stairs down to a much lower deck that didn't have railing, because I think that's making it seem really much bigger too. It takes the whole facade with the railing and everything.
Okay.
Especially on the back, which I'm not so sure we'll have that
No,
much
that's a
of
good idea,
a
actually.
view of, I agree with Diane about the dormers being brought in, or more windows or something.
Okay.
And then I would just ask, and this is not specific to you, but we're trying to get people to give us letters that say what this,
Yeah, bring the survey.
the
Foundation?
floor height has to be, so we can't ask for a benchmark necessarily, but some sort of documentation for that.
That flood zone's at 7, so. depending
Yeah,
on
it's
construction
just
technique.
something for our file that
Okay,
says that's
okay.
what it has to be. That's it.
Thank you. Abby?
Well, first, I think I might have to ask for a view, just because I wanna see the neighboring houses, but, right off, I think the third floor dormer is top heavy, and I'd like to see it either broken up into 2, or, I don't know, dealt with another way. Definitely the roof walk is adding to it, perceiving this as a very tall building. The connector to the little garage, I think, I'd like to see, as Val said, that brought down or somehow minimized, so you don't see so much structure. I think there's too much brick going around. I'd like to see a more natural, landscaping material to Grant Point. And, on the north elevation, this, shingled, balcony, I'm wondering if that should be a spindle instead. It's just looking a little heavy. That might give it a little more lightness. And, the third floor dormer, that goes for the south side as well. Over there.
Thank you. John? Oh,
He's not, I think, on.
right, I'm sorry. Yeah, you were out of the room. Okay, Jesse, sorry about that.
No worries. I mean, I agree with everything that Valerie and Abby have said, and
And Diane.
and Diane, excuse me, sorry.
Take your lumps away.
I think it's looking like that, this building would be fine if it was, on the ground, as it would be if it wasn't with the flood table. That 3 feet is, I know a lot, but if somehow you could get it down, whether by removing and when I'm saying 3 feet, I mean including the rope, the roof walk. But like Val's comment with either removing the dormer or the roof walk and dropping that right side down a little bit to allow the main mast to drop down a little bit, will go a long way. Not as concerned about the height of the deck, but I could go either way on that, because it does match the deck height of the front of the house. So a couple steps down might look a little bit better in one way, but not in another.
I'm just trying to eliminate railing.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and then, that's a good point. And then, if the railing is painted white, maybe that should go natural to weather.
Okay. Thanks, Jesse. So I agree with everything that's been said, and I just want to underscore a couple of things. So I think that this is feeling very vertical, particularly the main mass, and there's a lot of things that are contributing to it, that to the verticality that have already been mentioned. The roof walk, which, by the way, doesn't, even if we were to allow the roof walk, it does not conform to the 1/3 of the ridge length rule. I think that the third floor dormers, the size, you know, they're very large and imposing. So I think they're contributing to it. And all of that sort of on top of the fact that you have to raise this building up anyway because of the floodplain. So I'd be looking to make it feel less massive, less vertical. That's it for me. Anything else from anybody?
Nope.
Sweet. Oh, and so
I'm just gonna go down and look at it.
Abby had made a recommendation to go down and view for context, which I think is a really good idea. So can somebody make a motion?
Motion to move for revisions and for review.
Can I comment one thing about the view?
Can you comment on it?
Yeah.
Sure.
So when you do go view, would you please go around the North Beach side and look at,
Now we're aware of those big things.
okay, and how close they are to the back of the house?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're
No,
trying to
we're
turn our back on
Very, we've done a lot of work back there.
Okay,
People have.
okay,
We've reviewed a lot of things there, so we're
Okay,
aware.
thank
But
you.
thank you, Robbie.
I'll take a look
Now,
at that.
we all saw the shed as part of that drawing, so can we just have that tracked with the, with your revisions to the main house?
Motion to track shed with the main dwelling.
Very good. All those in favor of that
Aye.
motion? All right. Okay, thanks, Robbie. We'll see
Thank you
next
very
time.
much. Yep.
Okay. Next up, 36 Low Beach.
I guess that's me.
Hello again.
Hello again. Hey, if anybody needs a break, just let me know and I'll.
Terry.
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh,
Did she raise her?
it's after 7, I just noticed. From the foot. Okay, so from Wisconsin Advisory, something that we get very rarely, it says, no concerns as submitted. It says something about note on application need more detail.
That was a note that I had left. I thought we needed some more information.
Have you gotten the additional detail?
No, nothing.
You wanna ask Tori what the additional detail is, just so we know?
Just if there was more plantings around it, planting plan.
I do have a
representing
picture
fencing.
of what it looks like existing. It's super natural.
Yeah,
And I think this will kind of be the existing, it's hard to tell, I can get more close-up photos and submit them if you want. Once it's all said and done, the pool will kind of have that as a perimeter.
Can we see it from the beach, do you think?
I don't think
No,
so, it's
no.
over 160 feet to,
It's where that, it goes way.
it goes
out
way
to the
out,
ocean.
like by the Coast Guard, like old
300,
Trent
500.
radio station down there. Yeah, this is just to the edge of the lot, and then the beach goes all the way beyond this lot.
Nice spot.
And it's 160 feet to the edge
yeah,
of
it
this.
drops off.
Yeah, exactly, all the way down and out.
Yeah, this one compared to that one that's further along, I don't have any objection with this one, but there was one way down
Where
there
it was
that I
sandwiched
just.
in, and it was much
No
closer to the
patio around it, Tori, just in
Nope,
the
just the,
lawn?
yep, just the lawn
Okay.
and like a 1 foot coping, that's it.
Yeah.
Like you
With
see in
auto
the
cover,
photo there, with an automatic cover.
right. Okay, comments from the board.
Did you see this, Val? Because it shows the ocean really far away.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, oh, they don't have a comment? Must meet the regulations.
Yeah, well, it's rare that they don't have something to say, and
Yeah.
they seem to think it
When
was
you're
okay.
ready, I'll make a motion.
They've done a nice job out here.
Did you say you're gonna make a motion?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you want this back?
If you don't mind, if that's okay. Oh, do you want
like
to?
the way it's tucked
Can I bring you like other ones so I could? Oh, you want to stamp it?
Okay. John has just
John,
moved to
snap it.
approve this as submitted. All those in favor of John's motion?
Hi.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Tori.
Just
Linda.
to clarify, John, do you want more? Do you want me to get you more close-ups? Okay, that's enough. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Linda Williams.
I'm off this.
John's office also.
John
Want my
and
no button? No, just kidding.
oh,
Chairman, I'm gonna recuse from this.
yes.
Probably a good
so we
idea,
were
John,
told.
to text her.
Probably a good idea.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay,
will.
so you
I'll do it.
and Val are recused. So we have 4 capable members here.
You guys want to take a break a little?
Well, we-
I asked it and I just noticed it was 7, so
You don't have to go more afterwards.
no. So
What
so
happened to the rest
I'll
of the
certainly
house?
use your pen. I mean, this is seriously just done.
Wait till everybody opens it.
Exact lot.
Huh?
Wait till it opens. Does everybody have it?
We have it.
And of course you can.
Okay.
Take the whole thing.
Thank you.
Linda Williams for the owner and Jason Libby, the contractor.
Okay.
I think everybody who's been up or down Cherry Street knows the house isn't there. It's now there again.
Part of it's
Part of it's there. The front facade is there. They had received from the HDC some time ago, it's in the file, a demo move permit already,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
Then, it came back again, and for some reason, the demo move was given up. Don't ask.
I can speak to that.
I don't want it right now. The addition was brought back in to add to the north side of the, I think it's the north side, of the house, the existing house, and then renovate the existing house.
Are you calling the north the front or the
No,
side?
it's the side. Is that
Okay,
west?
well, it's.
Sorta
The
west.
front of the house faces northwest, so you're talking about the northeast.
East. Yeah, the
Okay.
driveway side.
Yep,
An
exactly.
addition was approved to the existing house as opposed to taking the house down.
Okay,
When he got into the walls, that wall on the driveway side had very little foundation under it and collapsed, basically, fell down.
huh,
And as he was going through it, I've got a lot of pictures, I think they went towards Diane, of the rot in the walls, pretty substantial. He was able to save and brace the front facade and keep that, and then sister new studs into it and put new window casings in it, inside. So we're back to reinstate the demo, keeping the front facade, and change the double French door on the driveway side, which was only a 2-foot space on each side, to 1 15-light French door. And keeping what Abby had motioned previously, to keep TDLs on the front, the 3 windows on the front, those are going to stay, those are gonna be TDLs. The rest are Anderson, as you guys already approved them to be replaced. There is a slider which the original house had on this, what would be the southwest, it's the one on the opposite side towards Pleasant Street.
yep,
They're enlarging it from a 4-foot slider to a 6-foot slider and taking out a side door which was in a bedroom.
got it.
And making a window in the back in the kitchen over the sink, smaller, and flipping that to a larger window in the living room on the drive, also on the driveway side. So there's some fenestration changes, but the height of the building is staying pretty much the same. There is a cricket in the back that the roof lines did not meet on the drawing, so it was chopped in order for the roofs to meet. You'll see where I've got it crossed off and held out in the back of it. Otherwise, that's pretty much it.
That,
You see where
yeah,
that is?
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah, because the roofs now work together.
Okay,
So it's all,
Yes, exactly.
everything that's on there now is what's gonna be back there.
Okay.
As you can tell, the frame is already up. I don't know how much you've been closed over the last couple of days, but they're moving along pretty fast.
Okay.
So this is it.
So, remind me, that this front facade is
It's still
intact?
there, yeah.
And this
It's there.
side?
That's the
new.
addition, that's the new
That's new.
addition that they'd
Okay.
added on before.
All right. No chimney.
No,
Chimney goes.
And what was the date of the house?
1940s. Yeah,
I'm okay-
it's had some
I'm okay
additions
with the
to it in the back,
renovations.
but that's pretty much the main mass was 1940.
Okay, so Abby has just said she's okay with the renovations as shown.
And the demo, reinstating the demo.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
it was already approved.
But it was
back
given
then.
up on the
No,
application
I
on the second
understand.
one.
I understand.
So we're just
It wasn't like
reinstating it, so
it's-
there's no question at the building department
Got it.
that it's reinstated.
Yeah. Okay, Jesse,
No concerns.
okay, and Diane.
I was just curious,
Hi, Diane.
hi, what do you think made it rot so much
Water.
on that?
Well, it's close to the foundation. The foundation was really close to the ground.
Yeah,
I think that caused most of the moisture
That's
to
what
come up.
normally does
because
it.
you don't think Cherry Street is being a wet street, but looking at your pictures, it
It's lower and down
must have been
gradient.
wet at some time,
Yeah.
because that's really,
Yeah,
The foundation was lower than the one above it, towards Pleasant.
and they had no sill seal or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it was
back
just
then.
sitting on it.
So it just sits right on top of the foundation.
so it won't happen again.
I hope not. Not in my lifetime anyway.
Are you putting a foundation in?
We did on the addition.
But not the front?
No, it's pre-existing, but we did put sill sealer down on top of it along with the pressure treated plate, so that won't happen again. To answer your question, Diane.
It's too bad you can't put the chimney back up. It kind of gives it a sweetness.
I hear you. Budget was a big thing on this project.
I see, okay.
So Diane, are you okay?
Yes, I just was
Questions or
curious
answers?
if there was some reason we should know why it
Well, I
rotted
could-
so badly.
Yeah, I see that the first floor is like just above the
Yeah.
grade. That's always a problem.
It wasn't a stellar construction to begin with.
Well,
Yeah, there was no cellar, was there?
40s?
It was like our fish market,
It was just sitting there.
when they redid our fish market and Hatchet, all that was left was the side and the john, sitting by
Oh,
itself.
I remember that. I remember that. In the corner, right in the corner.
Right.
Okay, so,
And
No,
Mr. Chairman, I
oh.
note one thing on the application, that a change from the original was the clapboard applied for natural weather and the trim natural.
We're down to shingles, because I remarked that, you made me remark the plans. So I'll have to fix
Okay,
that.
shingle though.
Yeah, and I crossed it off on the thing,
in other words, we're going from
Okay.
clapboard to shingle?
shingle.
Okay.
And the trim is white?
We'd like to go
Natural.
natural, because the budget cuts, obviously, we had to cut the cost quite a bit to get the project.
So there's no clapboard left
And
on
I
the structure.
suggested natural instead of painted to them also, because it'd be less upkeep and save them money in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I'd rather see it painted, but, because it seems to go with that architecture. So it's gonna be shingled natural?
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
The
kinda
front
nice to see a
shingle now.
natural little weather building kinda sticking out, but through a bunch of white
I think it
trim.
will look really good.
I mean, it kinda makes me think about, when you look down, like downtown at the buildings on the wharf, you see that, the real old one, it's all natural weather and all the whites around it. It's
Well,
kinda-
keep in mind, the one directly across the street from it is my son's building, and that is now natural weather. The Terratone windows,
It gives it more of
Across
an
the street
antique
from
feel.
this?
directly across the street.
Well,
And you
okay.
guys approved natural weather over there.
I'm okay with this one.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but this,
Yeah.
I mean, natural weather, but.
No,
She'll
on
probably
Lily
end up
Street,
painting it at
that
some
might
point.
be a little bit,
Well,
you
no,
know,
but Cherry,
out of character.
a lot, you know, those little side streets do have a lot of painted trim,
Yeah, true.
but, I hear your
And they got
reason.
Nantucket Island resort's right next to it, so they've got greenhouses and stuff like that, so it's,
Oh, yeah.
And remember the one next to it's got that wonderful yellow color trim?
yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
So you have enough color over there.
Yeah.
Too much color.
All right,
Must
motion
have
to
been on a
approve.
must have been a different board.
Okay.
Mustard color.
Abby has just made a motion to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. to you.
Okay, Stephen. You're waiting a long time over there.
All right. You wanna go to Foxwoods?
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Just fine.
How are you? Good. Fine, thanks. Good.
What's this?
Oh, I think that's the letter.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's
That
really
goes
bad.
in with,
It's the Walsh one?
Walsh Street.
48 Walsh. Lost my
So
voice.
Steve, you're just removing a chimney, is that correct?
Losing
Yes, there are 2 chimneys, and it's the rear one.
Okay. Is this, let's see.
Mine has a
So it's
comment.
3 Nantucket, which is right across from the Quaker Cemetery.
Ah,
You know that little cut-through street that connects to New Lane?
Oh,
where
yeah.
the bus
I do.
stop is?
Yep.
That's where the house is.
yep.
And so it's an antique. It was built in like the 1890s, I think. It's on the application. And the main mass has a chimney that I think was original to the house, and we're gonna repair that one.
Okay.
The mason
That
says.
stays.
Yeah, the front one stays.
Yeah, that one stays. They're gonna repair that one.
So that one will take
But
down.
there's probably one in the back that would have been in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got a hole in it, so I think it was, you know, a wood
I don't know.
stove.
Is it somebody else?
Is that the neighbor's
Oh, here it
chimney
is.
or is that?
There it is. Must
Well,
be-
it's a completely different
We have a
style, it
picture?
looks like.
Well, they got them over there.
Yeah, that first
Similar.
picture shows.
Similar,
the
yeah, this one
neighbor's
looks bigger
chimney.
though. Let's see.
Oh, it's a,
It's a kitchen chimney.
yeah,
There-
for,
there's
it's
your-
for a little pot belly stove.
Yeah,
or-
exactly. That's
Exactly,
what the little
yeah.
plugs are for.
Do we have a
You
picture?
poor girl.
Picture?
Yeah, well, Steve has provided extensive
I know, there's only one
information.
car,
Th-
though.
This is,
Oh,
first
there, yeah,
floor,
there are
right?
2 packs, sorry. First floor, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pass these around, but these show, the interior. This was an old, flue for a wood burning stove or a kitchen,
Yeah, like a pot.
range, yeah, pot belly stove, right.
Did you see it?
I haven't yet. If you don't mind.
Sorry, I don't have more copies.
That's okay. Only takes one to know I know how I do it.
It's an old one. How old do you think the chimney is?
John and I found a picture of it from the 50s, the second chimney. And so, like Ray said, I think it was added at some point for a wood stove or something. What you can see above the roof line was rebuilt at some point. What's down in the bottom is crumbling, so it would have to be rebuilt from the ground up if it stays, kind of either way.
Well, I'm gonna go first because I know John's gonna jump in, so.
Go
make a
ahead.
motion. And I think it should be restored.
I do too. I'm going to say. So we
Uh,
can put this little house together.
Okay, Val?
I'm just looking now, give me a sec.
Okay.
Am I even on this one? It's John.
Excuse me, no.
Bless you.
It's the full board on this one.
Oh.
Sorry, bud.
It's all right.
I am okay with the
18,
main chimney
19,
remaining
23.
and I don't mind the secondary chimney going.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this out. This was a 1923 map.
Yeah.
Does the footprint of the building vary at all from that?
No.
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
Is there a way you could work that into your design, having that second chimney in the back?
Dondi, do you want pictures of it?
There's no fireplace, and it would probably remain in the kitchen still. The tough part is it's a really tight budget, and so I don't know what they're gonna do if they had to rebuild the entire thing. They've got to rebuild the front one just to preserve it as is.
Well, they could always, well, I'll wait until,
No, say what you're gonna say.
they could always just build it from the roof up. I think it makes a statement on the little building.
Well, you know that we have done that before.
And it's right on the corner of Blue Lane and Nantucket Road as you come up there, at which you see the back of it from coming up New Lane.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that you can see it from many angles.
Right.
It's the old profile of the, old antique house. That makes it a little bit different than one that just backs up into a.
If they don't want to do it all the way down to the ground, then do it up.
Oh yeah, you can fake it too,
Well, that's what I mean.
Right.
Okay.
Is to rebuild it somehow, but I don't think it should be removed.
And Val, you said you were okay with the removal of the second chimney?
Yep.
Okay, and John's okay with the removal of the second chimney?
Great.
How do you feel about redoing it from the roof up?
If it weren't for the budget, I'd say sure, absolutely. I think this is the kind of project where they're gonna only go as far as they can. And so I think their hope would be that, it was probably added later and is less important than the front chimney that, they're gonna spend the money on taking down and putting the front chimney back up. So I think their hope would be to be able to take it down and fix the roof.
Okay, well, I hate to have a split board, but I think I'm gonna go in favor of allowing Steve to take it down.
Me?
and- Yeah, actually, John did make a motion about 10 minutes ago. I pretended not to hear you. Okay, so there's a motion on the table to allow for the removal of the second chimney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Best looking little farmhouse I've ever seen in Nantucket. That is real
Yeah, it's nice,
compact.
it's a great building. Well, they don't wanna hear
You
that.
can't say it's really the nicest little farmhouse
And then allow
let
the
them
chimney
take
to
And then
be
they'll
removed.
allow the
chimney down.
chimney to go. Where
That's-
is your,
Well, they're keeping everything else, and on the inside they're keeping a lot of the plaster and the trim and stuff. So I think.
All right.
Yeah,
Overall, make sure it stays really cute.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Let's see, let's look around. Do I see Luke over there? Okay. Does anybody need a break? I'm willing to keep going,
I
but
do,
if
but I
anybody.
wanna see what Luke has.
Okay. Go ahead, sit down.
It's always something good.
Zero concerns.
Zero concerns.
We can check it
Oh, well,
out.
we got a tomahawk, so
That's this.
that's that.
as long as it's metal and huge and has no windows. then you're good to go. I don't believe it. Oh, no, that's my camera.
I want an office. This is
I'm staying on the board. This one is keep pens. What happened to your glasses?
Yeah, what happened?
Carrie punched me out.
Again?
Yeah.
She's such a bill.
She's so aggressive. Oh, my goodness. So on Tomahawk, you're actually planning on shingling the building?
Yeah, it's
Could that possibly be?
it's actually gonna be a modular.
Yeah.
top, And, they're gonna do it modular.
Who's this?
Boy, I don't believe it. Okay.
This is attractive.
Yeah. I think
Not-
we're all
not
very
bad for a
familiar
storage
with
building.
Tomahawk and the context out there. So anything better than nothing is
Just
good.
keep forgetting.
Is this a wasteland?
Yeah, the Tomahawk was the old excavated, there used to be a gravel pit or something.
Kenny Cox
And there's a
is the-
huge, huge wall right here, like of concrete, like blocks.
Like a Mexican wall?
Yeah, like a border wall. It's more like a border fence.
It's like louvers.
No cement.
Here, let's take a
All
look.
right.
I mean, hey, again, here I am speaking out of turn again, but we
You
all
love
know
it.
what Tomahawk looks like, and
You
I mean,
love it.
this is
the
this
best looking
this
storage
is like a
building I've
palace
seen in a long
It's-
time.
it's
compared
really-
to what's out there.
No, it's got real windows.
Yeah, it's got, oh my word,
And
shingles. Yeah, it has windows. My God.
asphalt roofs.
Windows are black.
Hmm?
Windows are gonna be black.
Black sash.
With trim.
At least there's windows. At least there's cedar
Natural to weather,
shingles.
garage
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah.
Natural weather.
Oh, no, well, we're painting the doors.
Oh, it's-
That's so snazzy.
yeah.
Red? What color are the doors?
I think they're red.
Is everyone okay with this
Yes.
application?
Yes.
All right. John, you okay with the application? John has just made a motion to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. One down, one to go. All right, we got 30 Eagle Point.
Klaus, Olaf.
Cows.
Ja.
Eagle Point Road.
Oh, now I'm understanding why you thought that was
Why did you do that?
okay. Let's see. Bishop's Rise.
So it's way in the back of the property.
Right.
Right.
When you say in the back of,
Well,
Well, here's
it is literally in the back of the property. Okay, so it's behind, yeah, it's over in this corner here.
yeah.
Everybody got that? So, you know, not that this is an unattractive building that needs to be concealed,
They have to drive all the way.
but still, it's way over here. Yeah, oh,
May I?
it's built into the side of the road. Go ahead, Val.
Motion to approve? Is
Oh,
that-
yeah, all right. I'm gonna hold the motion just for a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve?
not from me.
All right, so then let's go. All those in favor of Val's motion? Oh, yes, John.
Sure, it looks like trash.
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Oh,
Yeah.
what's, no.
Built into the side of the hill. Pretty good. Okay, so Val has made a motion to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's it for you, friend. See you later. Okay, Val. Reaper Circle.
No, I would not wanna live on Reaper Circle.
Where?
The
It's
Reaper.
out
The Grim Reaper?
in Cannonberry, that where the Cannonberry Lane is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What do we need sent back?
Oh, these. Oh, they're coming.
Oh, they're all,
Oh, they're all piled up with Jesse.
there's two applications and then the last tab.
Where is Reaper Circle?
She just said it's off of Cannonberry.
Oh, in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Oh, this, I know Lynn Scholar.
Oh, wait
You
a minute,
know-
does this mean I'm on something?
We've looked at some houses out there recently that Andrew Cochin did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do they
It's
look?
that area.
Oh, yeah, I know,
And Bill Hunter just had a house approved in there that NAG did.
you said it's off Cannonberry?
It's in that development.
Yeah, it's a,
Yeah, I know
Caution
the
was doing a
area.
bunch out there.
The old, I wanna say Navy base,
Yes, before that.
Yeah, you know,
just before.
it's
It was started,
the last
this
development
development
road.
was started in like, I wanna say the late 80s.
Yeah.
But it
And,
never
and it
took off.
never really
Yeah.
took
Yeah,
off,
this
And
was
now
taking
all of a
off
sudden
now.
we're getting
Right.
a bunch, yeah.
because it sold.
Oh,
So this is, a new dwelling, it's gonna be a Huntington.
Do you know where it is now?
mm-hmm. Nice scale.
It looks just, it looks, so, I have some friends down there called the Hollings, they live off Sleet Wing.
Yes,
Say
that's
that
the
5
same
times
development.
This looks exactly like their house.
Oh, is that
So,
right?
I've gotta say, it's appropriate for the neighborhood. No, seriously, it looks so similar.
Cool. Quaker
It's
gray trim.
26 feet in height, and that is because we need that extra infrastructure between floors for Huntington.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not overly tall.
Mm-mm. Okay. Comments? I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm gonna pick on somebody.
The only thing I'm having trouble with are.
No, I just yawned, sorry.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Comes.
No, east elevation dormer, second story dormers. I don't like the configuration of them. I'm trying to,
You mean the 2, 1,
The
2?
2, 1, 2, and I don't know what the solution is. One thing is that the panes are so vertical. The panes themselves are very vertical. I don't, maybe.
That's accurate. Yeah, that's accurate.
I wonder if it could be 1 or 2. Just, it looks, you know what, I think it's that there are 3 of them. It's making it busy.
Well, let me throw it out there. What if she just made one long dormer?
I know, that's very cottagey and very
What do you
stunted.
think? Save
I-
your client some money.
I think I'm okay with that, if I was trying to avoid that.
Well, I appreciate the effort. Let's see.
You gave us a
Let's
chance
see
to
if
say
other people
something.
agree or disagree with that. Have you had a chance to
You got one here.
think about this, Jesse?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Or bring the windows closer, and I would say the same on the south, on that little gable coming off.
On the south, on the little gable, let's see. Oh, that's back this way.
South is a shed dormer that dies into the main gable.
I'm talking about the spacing on the windows, maybe if they were a little tighter, that's all.
Are you on the gable or are you in the little dormer?
He's just saying these should be closer.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Just bring them a little closer together? Let's see. Can you do that, Howard? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, are they lining up anywhere else, like on this?
I had left it for a chimney for later, but,
Between those,
yeah.
between those things.
But then you can always move it
I
back.
honestly
Yeah.
think it's a really cute, nice design. I mean, I'm being picky here, so,
Okay. Diane?
since I got to be on the
I just said,
application.
yeah, I know what Abby's saying about the dormers, that there's so much space between the windows, and sheet walls and stuff. But if you brought them all the way in, they become very insignificant. Does it change the room much if you brought them in a little bit?
I'd like to keep the larger size, cause the rooms are kinda small.
Okay, and if you were going to do a chimney, what would you put it up where?
It would be on the outside, but I'm not adding that right now.
Yeah,
So leave that
I
thought
will
off.
go with what you got. I don't, it's not a killer, it's a very cute little house and fits in well, I think.
Yeah, I agree. John?
What's on it?
Okay. So, Val, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
To Abby's comments, she said that the panes in these 3/3 double hungs, which
Yeah.
are on the east elevation,
Yeah,
she said they're vertical.
Yeah,
And
they
I
are.
can't help but agree with that.
yep,
And then I look at the little shingle space above those windows.
yeah,
And then I look right above that on to the south elevation. And what I see on the south elevation, which is the elevation Jesse was just talking about, is I see some 6/6 windows that I'm gonna guess are maybe ever so slightly taller.
yeah.
And they don't have the shingle space. In other words, can you have a slightly larger 6/6 window like the ones shown on the south elevation on the east elevation? So they're a little taller.
They're
You don't
4
have-
inches, yeah.
4 inches taller. And so the extra 4 inches makes you able to do a 6/6 as opposed to a long, skinny 3/3.
So and how we did that was the top of the window goes right
Into
To
the
the trim, yeah.
elevation.
So I'm
Yeah,
asking if
I-
that's
Space.
possible for you to
Yes,
be able to
I can do that.
Yeah, I like that.
So that would, I think that would help a lot.
So change, okay.
And are you doing like 1 or 2?
You know, my opinion, I don't care. If you wanna do one long dormer or you wanna do 3 separate dormers, I don't have a.
Which
major-
works better for your,
I personally like the 3, but I'm sure nobody's gonna say no to extra space, so
Yeah, how does the board feel about that? We're talking about the east elevation, whether it's 3 dormers or 1 long dormer,
No, I like the 3 dormers.
like the 3. Okay,
I like the 1.
Jesse?
The 3, I think the 3 I like better, and I think also when that comes a 6/6, that's gonna change,
The dynamics?
the dynamic of it.
It's
and-
gonna make them look a lot better.
yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too, just sketching it in.
Okay, so what?
Okay,
what
I'll make a
was the-
motion.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, motion to approve, changing on the east elevation, changing the 3/3s to 6/6s, like
South.
the south elevation, like
Okay.
it's done in the
That's it.
south elevation.
I caught it. Okay, all those in favor of Abby's motion?
Right.
Aye,
Thank you.
great, okay. Next up, Nathan. We're rounding third, approaching home. 7:30.
I'm just gonna stay here because, you know,
Don't worry,
next
we'll
week,
drag
you guys
this
might
out.
not be here.
Yeah.
Oh, please do.
Does it
That's
break?
very
I want to
valid.
get out here at 9.
Yeah, because
She's got the, yeah.
I was gonna bring that out when Linda was here.
My favorite
Boy,
one
that
is,
sounds so familiar.
my favorite one is, no.
It's one of those things? Okay, Lily.
Please, name for the record, please.
Oh, Nathan McMullen for George and Linda Kelly, 7 Lily Street, Sconset. Will Stevens.
Will Stevens. With a D or a PH?
PH, thank you for asking.
So this is a rarity here. Sconset Advisory says,
no way.
they say no concerns, and they say great historical documentation, exclamation point. So
Nice.
that is a
Whoa.
real rarity.
Should we go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Feel pretty good about that. Sorry. bad
Okay,
joke.
so you want, you can walk us through it, but you have the existing and the proposed one on top of the other, so it should be
So-
fairly easy.
Okay, so we'll just be quiet then? if
No,
you-
no, just, you know.
Okay, I'll keep it short.
Go through the motions.
So, Underhill Cottage,
Yep.
1886.
Not this one.
This one's supposed,
This was the second year.
we are proposing to move the building to the west to 7 feet to allow for a living addition on the east, a new shell drive, and a diminutive garage. Very simple gable garage.
Which we're hearing next? Yeah.
Yes, and we're retaining the basic H-shaped plan, of course, and the look and feel of the original front facade. The new additions and roofs are simple and in keeping, we feel, with the original fish shanty vocabulary. There are no original windows left in the house, in our opinion. They're aluminum tracks, plastic tracks for the most part, and the skylight is not original. So we are proposing new Green Mountain mahogany true divided light doors and windows. The new basement window wells will receive black aluminum grates. The rear addition, existing rear L is not original, doesn't show up on the 1888 plat map, nor the 1904 or 09 Sanborn maps. And on the 1923 Sanborn map, we see that it isn't what configuration is there today. We suspect there are at least 3 additions, and they are in very poor condition. They sit in the soil, and they have holes in the floor and the walls, and didn't bring the photos, maybe I did, but it's in bad condition. Therefore, we would like to demolish that, keep the existing original H-shaped front main mass, and demolish the rear L and add a slightly larger new one. And the dormers that you see in that are just a way of keeping the vocabulary of these cottages. Some on Broadway are somewhat like this, where you can touch the roof with your hand. And also allow us to have space that we can stand up in. It does submit to the main mass 6 inches, which is hard enough to come by, and still keep the 7 and 12 roofs. In short, we just close by saying that we are trying to keep with the scale, form, charm of the Underhill cottages and the neighborhood. And Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is a late submission by the abutter to the west, 9 Lily, who wrote. This owner sent him drawings today, and this is a letter he sent back in favor of the design. And Will Stevens may have something to add.
Let me just read this into the record first. Okay, so as Nathan said, this is from a neighbor, George. Happy New Year to you and Linda. Thank you very much for your email. Your plans look terrific. Nancy and I are in full support of your planned renovation of 7 Lily. We know with what you and Linda have done with your homes on Evelyn and the observatory on Lily, the renovation of 7 Lily will be a welcome upgrade to the neighborhood. Nancy and I spend a lot of time at 9 in the off season, so if there's anything you need, please let us know. All the best. Did you have a question? No, okay. And so, Will, were you gonna say something?
Just briefly, the clients own a couple houses in the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
they're very vested in the neighborhood. And we've done enough there now that we have, really good records of all of the exterior trim details and all that kind of stuff, because we replicate exactly to the originals, which are surveys we've done on the other projects as well, which do match this house, obviously. So, there's a lot of background work that's, already been done, really to keep these as original, kind of, at least in feel as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Curiosity question. What are these little circles? on the elevation.
Those are existing little 8-inch diameter round windows.
They're all
Really?
Kind of portholes, yeah.
No kidding. Okay.
Some are
want the
broken.
No, I
Pictures?
didn't.
Some are broken. There they are.
No.
Yeah, they're old bronze ones that used to be able to
Oh.
junk shop downtown. Pretty cool, but
Yeah.
so we're gonna try and find something cool to do with them inside. Figure it out yet.
You gonna keep the dark green color?
I believe we're going to gray.
Yeah, I think so. I think you did something this
We discussed that. I believe that's what we have, except for the front door, is remaining green.
Oh.
Essex or Gardner, whatever it's
Quaker
called.
gray trim,
Yeah.
Quaker
green.
gray sash, front door Essex green, others Quaker gray. AZAC trim.
Okay,
John, you said you wouldn't say anything at the meeting.
Abby's gonna begin.
Okay, so on the south elevation, I'd like to see that front door stay as a tongue and groove with the circle window instead of the 3 times 12 light.
Keeping existing front door.
Yeah, keep existing front door.
Gordon Batten with the coordinate.
On the east elevation, I think the 2 French doors on the far right with the big shed coming down on it is awkward. I don't know how you can, make that different because of the height constriction, but I'd like to see you think about that. And also what's this again? 3 times 12
12.
light.
Yeah, they're all
With
12s.
the pent, sort of whatever that is that a pent roof you have there?
Yeah, it is. There's the
Yeah,
brackets
yeah,
right there.
yeah. I'd like to see, I don't quite understand that roof line. I guess, I'm just looking back at the old one and seeing how that worked before. So,
There essentially isn't anything in the existing building where that's being built currently, right? There's kind of a void.
but
Yeah,
this low.
He wanted a little entry. That's what that's a little overhang.
Yeah, those are, I think, right now I'm thinking it's inappropriate, so I'd like to see that rethought, but those, other than that, I think it's very sympathetic to the cottage.
Thanks, Abby. Val?
I think it looks great. The only thing I would agree with her is simply the window, the grill pattern on those double French doors. Maybe it could just be all glass instead of with the panels below to make it look less complicated, but I think it looks great.
So there's 2 different floor elevations there? You got 3 steps going up with a French and 1 step?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lifting the floor, lowering the floor.
Lowering the
Do
floor.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
instead of
I
that.
think that, what about?
That was kind of the concession to be able to keep the ridge, keep everything low without.
It's low,
And still
very.
have 7 feet
So
bathrooms and all that.
15 light.
Yeah.
15, something simple. This just looks complicated because they're so
Okay.
narrow. So
But if you did that to one, what would you do with the other one?
They'd probably all wanna follow suit. Or the other one
no,
to
I
come
think
in
the
this
other
one
one's
is
a
like
door.
a kitchen door, so I think it's okay. I like your idea of changing the front door back. That just harkens back to the original building, and it's just the grill pattern.
And
Something
what about the
simpler.
little roof over those doors? Do you have to have that?
Yeah, or else you
They,
can't have it
you
over
come
there.
right.
It's the main
That's what
entry.
I'm asking.
It's the
From
main
the-
entry of the house is the mudroom, so
Foyer.
it's nice to not come in, to be able to be
Okay,
out in the
it's
rain
just-
as you're coming to the door.
36-inch overhang.
Oh, this
You,
thing?
you are talking about the little pent roof,
This
right,
one?
Diane?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That?
With brackets.
I'm wondering if the kitchen door, this is your main door now with a pent roof?
Rather.
Right.
All right, so what if that harkened back to the front door with a tongue and groove, and it was more of a, traditional looking door, and then Val.
Just a batten door.
Yeah, like a batten door, and then you wouldn't compete with each other. This would become like a normal French, like a 10 light or whatever.
15, yeah.
fits in there.
That-
Is there enough room for it?
You know, that French door is completely blocked by the garage, right?
Can't see it.
Yes.
It just makes that building heavy.
Yeah, I would be all right with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So Diane, have you finished?
Yeah, I agree with what we
What's
said.
been said? Okay. John?
I love that people wanna live in these little houses.
Isn't it neat? Yeah.
It's
That-
quite a
that really- I mean, they could have.
That thing's good.
It's kind of the
Yeah.
odd duck, yeah.
Well, they're going about it in a sensitive way, which we'll appreciate with these buildings. Okay, so does that give you enough guidance?
I believe if I could get a couple of questions in.
Sure.
Just to, I think we can then, is everyone in favor of the full French doors under the dormer on the east elevation
Yes.
then?
I am.
I am.
Okay,
I am.
so I'm getting that,
Mm-hmm.
and then what about the pent roof, the
I like
bracketed?
it.
I like it from the side.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so shallow, you know, the pitch of the roof is
It's
so.
3 feet.
That's just
The- I
because
mean, the-
everything is so low.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's odd, but, so is Sconset if you
See, if
don't
we
mind my
added another
saying.
half story to it. And
Yeah.
then we,
Nah.
I'm being facetious.
Yes.
No, I think it's
Nathan,
awesome.
You
how
would be
many
having a
panes
bunch of different letters
how
from your
many panes
neighbors.
of glass you're gonna put in those French doors?
I think 15 would be
There would
too
be
many.
15,
These would be 15
One
light.
15 light door?
each of them 15
Two.
light.
Or
And
what
then-
about 12?
Well, we
Yeah.
have 12 now.
Yeah, no, 15, I guess you,
Okay, so 15 in each of the French doors.
right.
Pardon me, Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to get,
Yeah.
okay, what we need to do.
So
So,
you get consensus. I see
Consensus,
you are
yes.
grimacing.
No, it's just that they're so narrow. I
Are you
would
thinking
think
10 is more appropriate
less
than 15?
panes is better, but.
It'll get.
well,
How wide are those
we
doors?
could,
That's fine.
they are 2 2/8s. Excuse me, 2 6s. 2 2
2
6s.
6.
2 6.
It might
Okay,
be.
well, you can do a 2 6 as a 15. I mean, it's
Or we
not-
could do-
It's not unheard of.
2 2/0s with 10s.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like a 2x6, like a 12 light,
Yeah, I thought a 12 light,
isn't it?
I could do a 12 light that doesn't have the panel. Is that what you're
Yeah,
after?
that-
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the main thing. We're
Okay.
getting rid of the panel.
12 light, no panel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
it makes those panes bigger and it makes them simpler.
Yes. Okay, so we'll do that.
And do I get a batten door for the?
Yes, ma'am, you do. And or do you want one of those round windows in it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
like
think
that.
that would be good.
Okay.
This is
So
to approve
plus
Mm-hmm.
rounds from
Yeah.
what's remaining.
I'll just be able to reuse one from
Okay.
the house.
That's not a lot to change.
I would
So
approve
we had
it through
we had the
staff.
front door, we talked about the French doors, we talked about the mudroom door. I think it covered.
The roof.
Oh,
Abby,
the roof
you're-
is fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm giving in.
So, can we make that an approval with staff? Ms.
Yeah.
Chairman?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I guess,
So
yeah,
moved.
I guess we can.
So moved, Mr. McMillan.
Let's make sure that Terry, did you get the essence of that motion?
I got it.
Our scribe.
Front
Okay.
door is to be back to the original batten door with round window
Right.
on the mudroom and 12 pane door at the French doors.
Yeah.
So moved.
10 light.
Can I read what I got?
Yeah.
I was typing madly.
Yep.
Motion to approve to staff with the east elevation front door to match the existing front door. Existing front door to remain. And east elevation French doors to be 12 light, no panel.
Right on, sister.
Are you keeping that tent roof over the new front door?
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's good.
all those in favor of, whose motion was that?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, all those in
Aye.
favor of Diane's
Or
motion?
maybe it was Abby's first, I
Two
don't know.
people made it, that's okay.
Okay, well, all those in favor?
I.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
folks.
We
We have a
What
garage.
about the
don't we?
garage?
Oh, yeah,
Well, that's a done deal. That one's,
Oh, right, on to the next one.
I'm sorry, that
For the
was,
record, Will Stevens.
forgot. Same people?
1,000 times, no.
What is
Same,
that?
same people.
What is that?
It's my no button.
Oh, you
Yeah,
know.
no.
Because I can't say no, people give me these things.
Yeah, I forgot about the garage. Very simple, very small.
Okay, again,
it's true.
Wisconsin advisory, no concerns.
Not for
Wait a
Facebook.
second.
Oh, seriously, motion to approve.
Oh, wait a second.
You need to just take a look at it. That's the house, John. I think, isn't he looking at the house, John?
Oh, that is
Yeah, that's still the
cute.
house.
Here, John.
You okay?
Yeah. Did you see it?
Yes.
Did you see, it was blurry, because we went really fast.
If you're okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it
Yeah.
sounds like we're good to go. Oh, no, John's taking it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Have we got any more garage permits left for tonight?
Any what?
More garage permits for tonight? We're running out of.
Garage or pool?
No, we have a
Oh.
shed.
We got a
but
shed
we
and
do
a
not
fence
have
next.
garage.
By the patient land bank.
I wish you'd take this seriously, John.
Are either of you living in the house? No, the Kellys
Oh.
are gonna live.
Well.
That's the Kelly's
Yes.
family, it's their son,
Right.
their son and daughter.
Nice.
That's actually why they wanted to have the panels on the French doors, is because then the screen door matches and the kids and the dogs don't get through the screens as much, but.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Just get a
Now
little-
you tell us.
You get a little bar.
Little dog thing down at Marine Lumber. Keeps the dogs and cats in.
A pretend dog.
Okay, so, John, what do you think?
Go ahead, pass me over.
Well, these guys are,
Fascinating.
You all set to go?
they are. That's okay. Take your time.
It's 20 by,
I bet it's 20.
13, 12, it's small.
better order for the whole together.
That's about it.
Yeah,
It's
the
old enough
cars
to
are getting
going,
small
folks.
again, right? So
Motion to approve.
Okay, John has made a motion to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
we don't do that as opposed to.
Okay, now you're all set to go. That's the letter. That should go back.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you very
Night,
much.
night.
Appreciate it.
Okay, land bank. Thank you for waiting.
My own fault for submitting it at the last minute.
It happens to everyone.
Somebody's gotta be last.
Somebody's gotta be last, exactly.
That is true.
So, we want a shed. Millbrook Road.
Name for the record,
Oh.
quickly, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Lee Darazola. I'm the project manager at the Nantucket Islands Land Bank.
Could you spell your last name?
Z as in zebra, O-L-A. You don't want the first name spelled?
What was it, Anazola?
Lee Dara.
Oh, Lee Dara.
Yes.
Leedara?
Perfect.
Wow,
Good
that's
guy.
impressive.
Yeah.
She's good.
May I have your pen?
Don't mess with her.
That's what they want to shed.
I love this spot. This is a great spot. Kayak launch, right? Where's the kayak launch? Somewhere around here.
Oh, isn't it cool? I just
Is this-
discovered it.
Is this
this
associated
year.
with your
That's a fence.
water access?
This is an apple orchard. This is not associated with water access.
An apple orchard.
This is an apple
Interesting,
orchard.
okay.
This is
You know that
associated
Sorry, I
with
spoke out of
agriculture.
These people have a pool.
Who's gonna do the agriculture?
Some of this is staff and some of this is, hired folks. We're very excited. It was a project that came to us and it made a lot of sense.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I've been
Let me
asking
get
for an
oriented
orchard forever out here.
What kind of apples?
We actually placed our order and we are ordering a large variety of types.
very
So they're dwarf, so they're small, but within the dwarfs.
Will they harvest them?
I've been told in about 3 years we'll have apples.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Nantucket apples.
Love it.
The Grossmans had a whole apple orchard, you know, out there.
In Pulpus?
How many acres is the actual grove?
It is very small.
Yeah,
It
looks
is
like
100 trees. The fence enclosure is about 150 feet by a little under 190 feet.
Ladora, is that blue? That's that's the fenced area?
Exactly.
Well, it's so funny, it looks so tiny here, like 100 trees. Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
That's awesome.
Apple
So,
Orchard Road.
well, now, the first thing that we are reviewing is the shed. North,
The
south.
hinges.
Yeah. Is this, I'm gonna guess this is natural to weather, is that a correct guess?
Yes.
Okay. So, 6 and 12 roof pitch on the shed.
The intent there, I mean, I know that's a little less than is typical in the guidance, but the intent there is just to keep it low. We were working with the neighbors in terms of their view, and we just wanted to, be as small and unobtrusive as possible.
Okay.
What's the next pitch up that would make it a little steeper?
7.
Yeah.
7, how much? I
7,
don't know.
as John McLaughlin will readily tell you, is the minimum pitch allowed on the gable,
I wonder if that
according to
would
the
look better.
guidelines. It's not gonna add that much to the height, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such a narrow building, it would add inches
It's
to the
gonna be
height.
so beautiful out
What,
there.
what, color are the windows and doors? Cause it says they're fiberglass or fixed, and the rest of the building's natural, so I was just curious.
Forest green is
Oh,
what is
perfect.
written
Okay.
down.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, we
And-
can definitely go to, nope, it's good.
So,
Steeper pitch?
oh, I see, you do have a window schedule on here, because, these windows look very sort of horizontally formatted. Let's see, just see. Anderson vinyl 9 light, 2.6 by 2.6.
I think you're right. We need a steeper pitch.
Just a tiny bit.
And we would probably wanna make these, 9 light windows. They're fixed, but could you make them, either narrower or taller or both? So that you get them more vertically formatted? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on this? Okay. You're good?
One comment.
Yeah.
The past policy of the commission, minimum on a gable is 7 inches.
Yeah.
So you gotta raise it 2 inches to make up the difference.
So we're gonna,
It's all, you can do it all in construction anyway.
yeah, so we're going to, approve this with a 7 and 12 roof pitch, okay?
Okay.
And,
The windows are going to be, are these
Windows are
crank wall or
fiberglass.
what?
no, they're
They're
fixed.
fixed.
Oh,
They're
it's
fixed casements.
So you could just make them, 6 inches longer and.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just so they're not square.
instead of being
6 or
2.6.
4, whatever the next size is.
Yeah, they come,
That's exciting.
Right. Said the windows are fiberglass, what does that mean?
that means that it's,
Anderson.
Strong window?
yeah, basically they're Anderson windows.
Oh, Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson have like a
Okay.
cladding on the outside of them.
Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like we make the
Oh.
roof pitch 7 and 12, and we make the 2 fixed casement windows like 4 to 6 inches taller,
Right.
okay? All right, can somebody give me that motion?
That motion is mine now.
Okay, Abby's just made a motion to approve with a 7 and 12 roof pitch and windows that are, more vertically formatted. All those in favor of?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. Okay, and now the fence. And we saw the plan, but can you tell us what it is? It's a wire fence?
So this is a sort of typical agricultural fence.
Like a deer fence?
Exactly. Main intent is to keep deer out,
Okay.
without being electrified.
Like
That was
we would see at
important.
Bartlett's, for example.
It is the exact same fence that is at Sustainable Nantucket
Yes.
right now, and Moore's End.
You're all familiar with that, right? Right on the road there?
This is wire.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I can't wait to see it.
especially when it's really used agriculturally.
I know,
Yeah.
it's so neat. I'm gonna go pick apples.
Lack of visibility.
Now, is it
Yeah,
gonna be
well,
like, is it gonna be commercially, or is it gonna be like, do they have an idea how they're gonna?
You know, I am very new to land bank, so I'm not exactly sure. I do know public access is very important, so I can't imagine that this would be only for 3 people. I think this is gonna be,
Yeah, at this
come
spot.
pick your apples.
They
Yeah.
can name it the Garden of Eden.
At this spot, it's probably for the public.
I mean, I'm surprised that 100 trees can produce enough apples, but I've been told that that will supply enough apples for the island.
No.
That one floored me a little bit, but I think the concept
Enough
is there's
crab
gonna be
apples for
enough
the
apples for
Yeah.
people
Well, no,
who
I mean,
want
it's a
them.
good
I'll
start.
believe it
They
when I
don't
see
take,
it.
if you prune them
It's a good,
and all that stuff, they don't take up a
This is
lot
a
of
great
commercially
sort of
raised
funny.
apple trees. Look at
not
Harvard,
trailer.
Mass, or through New Hampshire at the apple orchards. They keep them
They're tight.
to approve.
One right next to the other. Well, who gave the motion?
I just said it,
Okay,
I threw it out.
so Abby has made a
Yeah,
motion
literally Abby.
to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
I thought I wrote that.
we
all.
are
Maybe I
also,
wrote it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
Okay,
It's a much happier committee than I recall from probably last time I was
well,
here.
we're all on
15 years
medication.
ago. Okay, can I have some
Yes,
too?
we take medication now.
And Ray has jet lag, so.
And you have snacks, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, all the
Thank
good
you.
stuff. Thanks a lot. Okay, so are we ready to approve some minutes tonight?
So moved.
Okay, Abby has
13
made a
and
motion
20.
to approve the minutes of December 13th and 20th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vineyard Wind, I think we should wait for Steve. Does everybody
Yeah,
agree?
because I have splintered off into my own group,
Okay,
and I'm anti-turbine.
Yeah.
So I can't give you
you mean against the project?
There's gonna potentially be 600 of them, and I think we need more information before we leave.
Absolutely. I'm spinning
And so I've
too.
started
These
my
aren't-
own group called ACK-RATS, Nantucket Residents Against Turbines.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good.
Accurate.
I would join you.
All right,
They
well,
do
so
start
now.
with Feast of the Fish, you know.
At a minimum, to have an informed discussion about this, I think Steve needs to be
Yeah.
around. So we're gonna pass that one over. And I missed it, I'm sorry I missed it, but I hear that we had a fairly productive session with the DPW.
Yes.
Oh, I
It was
missed
very
it,
good.
so what happened?
It was,
Diane?
it was good.
He made
You were
his,
there
I was
at
No, he
the
wasn't.
DPW thing?
We had a whole
You were
meeting.
the- Right,
I
and,
had to call the meeting together.
Your last.
yeah,
We had them. He was much more
Oh, yeah, he's great.
listenable too than he has been before. And he said I was known as the guy who was gonna pave Main Street.
right.
Yeah.
Basically, what he's going to do is take 3 or 4 different construction of sub-material thing, and then the cobblestones on top. They're going to have them out at the DPW all summer and longer if necessary, and
Oh, you mean like a sample?
yes, they're all gonna be samples, big, and they're gonna drive trucks over them, and then they will look at them and see what. I suggested that they put a weight limit on Main Street. He said that the police chief said it was against law. It is not against law.
You see
I
those
called
signs all the
DOT.
time.
I called DOT at Boston, and they said, what was I talking about? So Pittman maybe needs to review his knowledge of weight limits. If we reduced it down to 24,000 pounds, it stops the buses go up, but the buses don't go up there. And it stops construction trucks from taking a shortcut from here up to the monument. They can get to almost every street, building, whatever, by coming in on the sides.
Absolutely.
So that was discussed, we have to go again. He has another meeting coming up in March to discuss the water flow
Yes,
coming
which is
down
important, yep.
and why there are 6 cuts in the curbs that are not crosswalks and are not opposite each other. And whether they're good or not, some of them, which he was beginning to find out, have got the gutter water comes down from the
Yeah.
house, goes under the street, and empties out through those cuts.
That's right.
The other suggestion, we talked about trees, roots, and I made a suggestion that instead of trying to hump over the roots and do all that stuff, to put wrought iron circles around them, so people didn't walk in them, trip on them, and all that jazz. And I said, most of the houses on the way up Main Street have wrought iron of one sort or another in their railings or their fences. So that would fit in. So that he thought about, because otherwise they had some putting organic material on top, and it really isn't gonna last if they get snow and they dig and whatever. But
Right.
putting a fence around it would let you know where the tree is and everything else. And they're going to replace or put in new trees. They have got the old list of all the trees that was put together a couple of years ago that Rit, whatever they are, has put together. They're going to review that, and he will continue to have meetings all summer long with people, summer people, and everything else.
Great.
It was a good meeting.
It was a really good meeting.
Good.
Yeah.
The only thing I brought up, which he didn't really answer, was his lack of concern in front of Macy Warehouse, where they replaced the thing. He didn't say he would rip it up. I said, you may have to rip it up if we review this. And he didn't say drop dead, Charlie Brown. So, but he wants, Ginger Andrews was there, and she was frosted because part of that sidewalk in front of the Pacific Club belongs to the Pacific Club. It does not belong to the town.
Yeah.
And they have new plans to
And if you
jut it
come
out
in and
into
make
Main Street.
plans to do something to their property, they are not happy about it at all.
Interesting, wow.
And then there was a woman,
Your neighbor.
Hillary
Yeah,
Rayport.
Rayford.
Right.
What the hell is she was equally frosted, and you couldn't really, she didn't really accept anything that he said. She always had, don't you think? She always had a,
Yeah, I mean, it started to go really smoothly, and then she'd come in and say, "What about that tactile those tactile brick crosswalks?"
They call them Lego or something.
And we were talking
like that.
about the sharp corners on the granite.
Right.
What happened to the old ones?
but my grandsons are gonna try and find it,
Good.
because Peter says it's got to be there somewhere.
That was my first question. What happened to the old crib? Where
Yeah.
are they? We have to store it.
He, so he's, works for them.
I think
so-
they said they wanted to use them again up on Upper Main because they thought Upper Main was more.
You
should-
could,
should get more. You could what?
Torch them. You could just go along
Get-
with a torch and you thermal them. and
It
pops
breaks
the-
off all the hard edges.
That's- Because he didn't
Well,
think
he
there was
didn't-
any way,
Yeah.
they called them tire biters.
Well, they are.
Somebody, but I never
Almost
heard them
everybody
called
I
that.
know has ripped a tire
Popped a
on
tire.
them.
Right, well,
Yeah.
I brought up right on the other side of Pacific Club, and he said, well, nobody comes up that close to traffic because the taxis are there. But when the UPS truck is always there, morning, noon, and night, it is there. He had something in mind, and that's when Ginger got mad, because she said, she's an officer of the Pacific Club, and she wasn't pleased.
That's interesting, they're tearing up the private
But
side.
we're invited to the next meeting. They
Yes.
liked
Well,
our
that's
input.
nice.
Yep. So they want
But
to
I
hear
think the
from us.
weight thing has got They did
Yeah,
that on.
I've seen the trucks, big heavy trucks going down the street, and they do raise, they,
Oh, yeah,
you
you
know,
can feel them
raise
going
havoc
down.
on the
But there's a weight
cobblestones.
limit on York Street of 24,000 pounds, and the buses weigh 25.
Son of a gun.
So you get,
You can't go down York Street with a bus.
right. So it was a very interesting meeting and worth going.
Yeah, I
to.
wanna go to the next one.
I'm really glad it happened. Now, thank you for the review, Diane.
It says no.
I
Hey,
took notes and everything.
John Hedden,
Yes?
should we be discussing this minimum maintenance actions at 44 Orange and Gorham's Court?
Abby would like to discuss it.
Yeah, no, I was, when I was looking at 16 and 18, you know that we've brought that up, we've been working on that. Or is it?
Yeah.
Is it 16 and 18? Anyway, I was walking,
Which street?
Orange.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I was coming up and then I noticed that 44 and I think 42 are really old historic houses, beautiful, and they're rotting and falling apart, and I can't believe it. They're gorgeous homes, and they're, you know, no one's taking care of them.
So
They're,
it sounds a little bit like Gull Island.
yes, very
Remember that whole
reminiscent of Gull
Well, you
Island.
get the bad news about your street,
What's-
Lily Street. The sidewalk comes from the old, Mariardi place on the corner, you know?
Yeah,
And it comes up, almost just past your house,
yeah,
and it stops. They're gonna run curve all the way down to, North Liberty Street.
wow,
And you know, so you have
Wonder
a side, there's no
why.
sidewalk on the other side.
oh.
They can put
Yeah,
a
but we're
sidewalk in, then knocks out all them cars.
John, we're talking about 44 Orange. Do you know about 44 Orange? It's like a mansion and it's falling apart. And I don't, there's no one living in it. There are vines growing up, the balconies are coming down. I mean, the porches, and I think we should do something about
Well,
it.
so, do we need to have a vote on that, or can we just have you send the first letter to them about demo by neglect?
You could vote to have me write the letter.
I make a motion with that, John, that
Don't you think
I would-
everybody
I
should
would-
see it first?
I would recommend to the commission
Yeah,
that you.
You mean to take a look first?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
everybody should take a view first.
Okay, all right.
So
fine.
we're all, I mean,
we
don't
know,
go on
look,
my word.
No, I know that
mean,
you're not gonna make
But
something
you
like
have
that
to
up.
you have to go into the driveway and look back at the house in the back, because you can't really tell it, that's why nobody's noticed it.
And what about
It looks
Gorham's
fine on the street.
Court? Can you still get in Gorham's Court?
I don't know, you know what, it's one of those houses that, where the front door is on the side
Yeah.
of it, and that it's actually the next house over is in the same situation. It's just falling apart.
Where's
Okay.
that, Lily
Will
Street?
anybody go?
No.
Orange.
Orange
44
and-
Orange.
Oh, 34, oh, up there, yeah,
44.
right.
It's at the end of the agenda, John. If you still have your agenda, look at the very last item, and it has the 44 Orange and what Gorham's Court, one.
I didn't
One
know it was
Gorham's
called
Court.
Gorham's. Well,
I
I have
thought
one
that-
more egregious.
Yes,
I
you
thought that
have another
Gorham's
grievance.
Court was
Grievance, yeah.
part of the Catholic Church. Why did I think that?
I don't know, but go look at it and tell me what you think.
And
Well,
what else
okay,
are we
so,
looking at?
all right, the other thing is that Island Lumber, I'm bicycle down there all the time, and the bicycle path takes the far end of Island Lumber. There is no screening anymore of the
But they're
whole-
not done.
Okay.
It's gotten worse though.
Okay,
And I don't know why.
that is not a posted thing. It's not posted.
Well, I wanna bring it up.
Okay, so if we wanna have a discussion, it sounds like Val
I
has some
just
answers.
met with him, John and I, and they're not done,
John
and they're
Hedden.
planning screening.
I can say, yeah, I did meet with them, not directly on that topic, but, they're gonna put up those other buildings that go along Milestone now, which is the phase that they're in now, so they've dug, for the foundation for that.
Okay.
And,
And along-
but they assured me that that's fully.
And the
in their
bicycle
plans.
path too.
I was there.
Yeah, and the back, that's like,
Mhm.
Okay.
They
I
don't
wanna
wanna
see
have it like
birds
that.
and-
They don't
birds
want
and
people to
trees.
see them as they expressed it, so.
John, did you get that? Birds and trees.
I'm confident they'll.
No
they'll
buildings,
definitely plan.
birds and trees.
And they offered it, we didn't bring it up.
Okay.
That's it. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah.
All
Merry
right,
Christmas
hey.
to you too.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Harry,
I'm
you
about
need a
ready for
ride?
Thanks,
Christmas.
everybody.
Please. My phone's probably dead and I can't.
Jesse,
phone